in the Mardyke, where we have more interprovincial T20 trophy action for you. Second game of the day, and today it's the Northern Knights, or this afternoon it's the Northern Knights taking on Munster Reds. A little bit earlier, the Knights won the toss and chose to field. It's a bit of a trend going on in the tournament so far, of winning the toss and electing to try and find out what it is you have to chase. I'm Isabel Joyce, and I've got Ali McCalmont alongside. Ali, another afternoon of beautiful weather for cricket.
Yeah, definitely can't complain about this. It's been lovely down here for 2 days, and promise for another day tomorrow for the last day of the festival, but it's been perfect so far, and had some good cricket and some average cricket, let's be honest, but looking forward to a good game here between a winner and a loser from yesterday. The Northern Knights, very emphatic win over, let's say, a slightly understrength Munster Lightning, and the Reds, let's be kind, a little bit rusty in their opening game, but we'll see how they get on now. We're going to have Matthew Humphreys, one of the changes for the Knights. International come in, he's going to bowl Swapnil Modgill.
Yeah, I think the first game yesterday, Munster Reds were down. They're down a good few players. They've a couple of injuries. They're missing some internationals as well, and they just looked a little bit rusty in the field. Put down a few chances. I suppose the positives, there's a chance non-strikers.
He's going to go. He's going to go.
An absolutely horrendous run, unfortunately, from Stephen Doheny. His club opening partner, both Marion men. They usually have such a good understanding, but Stephen Doheny sold Modgill right down the river, went straight to the fielder. Couldn't have been better set up for a run out there. And Modgill, frustrating for him. He goes without scoring, and Munster Reds already in trouble, not for one.
Yeah, not sure you could script a worse start for the Reds. We've just been talking about their difficult yesterday. Straight off the pad from Neil Rock. It runs straight to Carson McCulloch. It's a nice throw from McCulloch, to be fair. It's easy to get caught up in the moment there and possibly overshoot your throw, but he's taking a little bit of time. Bounce throw into Humphreys. He does the rest, and you can see on the replay there, Modgill hadn't a clue where the ball was for a start, and Doheny's called him, and he was setting off from a completely standing start, and not even in the frame. Good throw from McCulloch though, not for one, as I say, not the greatest of starts for the Reds.
No, well, Stephen Doheny will have a stone in his stomach right now. He's got to put it behind him, try and make up for the mistake with runs on the board. Arm ball from Humphreys, long on and deep straight mid-wicket on the boundary. And I mean, if he bowls half as well as he did against West Indies last Sunday, then he'll be doing a very good job for the Northern Knights. A few changes to their lineup. Two players going out. James McCollum, player of the match from yesterday, not in the 11. And Matthew Foster as well. Paul Sterling and Matthew Humphreys, pretty good replacements though.
Yeah, not too bad. That ball that got the run out was his quicker delivery. He was surprised Neil Rock a little, and that's why it took a deflection off the pads. First ball to PJ Moore. It's on the money. A little bit of a change for the Reds as well. PJ Moore came in the middle order yesterday. He's up at 3. Probably a more preferred spot for him, opening or 3. A quicker ball again.
Yeah, I think the PJ Moore would usually open, but with Stephen Doheny and Modgill opening and club together and forming a very good partnership there, the thinking's probably that the understanding will be good, and that's exactly the opposite of what happened, unfortunately. Like, these things happen, you have to make a decision in a split second, and it just happened to be the wrong one on that occasion from Doheny. Cover and mid-wicket, the two out for PJ Moore, who didn't really look himself yesterday.
A bit like his team, just getting rid of the cobwebs or Never run out. Davy comes in quite quickly there to prevent the single. And a beautiful over to open up for Humphreys. Just a single from it. And the bonus wicket. And the Munster Reds, as we say, not a great start. 1 for 1. But they've got to move on very quickly from that. And as you say, Isabel, Stephen Doheny's got to put it behind him now and try and get some runs on the board to make up for that, let's say, dubious call for his partner. John Mays open up from the Sunday's well in. Bowled quite well yesterday, 1 for 21. Hit that length that yesterday was optimum. Just a little bit short of good. Pick that up early. Here he comes into Doheny. Drifts down leg to open up, and that's going to go for a boundary. First one of the innings. Clipped off his little bit below the hip, but nicely tucked behind. Square there for 4.
Lovely classy shot from Stephen Doheny. Gets in a good position, right up on the toes. Elegant. Point and square, the 2 out.
Yeah, Sean Davies right back on the circle there, so a comfortable single into the leg side. Seems to be the go-to form for the 2 fielders outside early. We've talked about it a few times in this festival, a couple of days. Both square leg and point boundaries. And just in front of us here, as we say, mid on, mid off. In fact, mid on being moved round a couple of yards. They are back on the circle.
Very good looking delivery, that one. Nice angle in, shape away. PJ Moore, little push at it. No real conviction to the shot, but it's just the kind of one that can get you in trouble.
Yep, just on that. Good to slightly short of good length. Just a little bit of movement away. As you say, a little bit of a fish at it. More shape in that one. That one definitely swung away towards the keeper.
Not from 5 for PJ Moore.
We move down to Clontarf to play down in here at Cork County.
Flayed away, a diving effort at short third. That one needs to go straight to you, and didn't for Morgan Topping, who's in short third. So a streaky looking boundary to get PJ Moore off the mark.
Yeah, that's your classical cover drive or your mid on, mid off drive for 4. A little bit streaky outside off, and could so easily have gone to hand there. Positive you take from that, maybe your luck's in a little bit, maybe, if that's going down to the boundary. Could so easily have gone to Topping and your day's over. A few hands on hips here and waiting, because the ball has disappeared under the net. It's been retrieved now, as you see on screen there. The netting not particularly doing its job down there to try and prevent the ball going into the hedge.
A pretty good delivery that from Tom Mays. Paul Sterling in slip. A little bit straight and calls of push from PJ Moore. I don't think they'll be able to get the second. It's gone with a little bit too much pace almost. Sean Davey doing the tidying up. So an eventful over. 10 from it. After 2, Munster Reds 11 for 1.
Yeah, probably a better over than not for 10 there from May. See a little bit of shape with the new ball. A little bit unlucky to go for the second boundary. 10 from it, 11 for 1. Free wicket, as we say, the run out. We've talked so often, even in these first 2 days, about wickets in the power play, how absolutely key it is, especially on this ground. If you've got wickets in hand, you can score really quickly towards the end of an innings, and indeed at the start, particularly in the back end of an innings, if you've got plenty of wickets in hand. Humphrey's going to bowl second over. Bounce there. Well fielded in that point region. Also there. He's in today. Changing the field. Witnessed this on somebody really adept at changing his field really quickly. Humphrey's just not letting the batter set. And gone. PJ Moore plays right round that. He was looking to go over mid-on, possibly because he had been brought up from long on. They changed that ball. They switched mid-on, mid-off. And I'll get a look at it again, but I think perhaps PJ Moore was trying to go over mid-on with it, played round it. Matthew Humphreys has just continued from where he left off on Sunday.
Moore goes for 5, 11 for 2. He's a tricky customer to face in T20 cricket in particular. Yeah, just played all around it. No real technique. A little bit too quick. And yeah, Munster Reds find themselves behind the 8 ball early on in this interprovincial T20 trophy match.
Yeah, there's Tim McCullum was on your screen there with the shades on and the fluorescent bib. James, he's 65 yesterday and not in the lineup today. The strength of the night's top order at the moment. Bringing in Ross Adair and Paul Stirling. No real issue with that, of course. 2 internationals.
Yeah, it is a funny one, isn't it? You would think that someone like McCollum, there'd be a space in the lineup for him, but even though he scored at a good rate yesterday, 65 from 36, he's not really seen as a middle order batsman in T20s in particular. So they've opted to drop him and bring in their 2 international openers. Suleiman Safi, the left-handed batsman, in at number 4.
It's the international bowler that they've brought in that's doing the business right now. Humphreys, 9 deliveries, 1 for 1.
And Suleiman Safi was dismissed for a second ball duck yesterday, so he'll be desperate to get off the mark here.
Almost the absolute mockers on that, Isabel. Wild swing from Safi, trying to get off the mark, but as you've mentioned, Humphreys is a difficult customer to get after. There's that change again, another change. Point goes out to the boundary. Keir Carmichael, he brings up long on to mid on. Get off the mark.
There you go, Suleiman Safi. You've got your first run. Now you can relax into the game.
Most definitely.
Stephen Doheny's only placed 3 deliveries, almost at the end of the 3rd over. So hopefully he's managed to put that run out to the back of his mind. On boundary so far, lovely looking clip off the legs, and then he's rotated the strike. And rather than rotate, he's going to look for a 6. I think it has gone all the way for the first maximum of this afternoon's game.
Yep, nice shot from Stephen Doheny. That's kind of what PJ Moore was trying to do over mid-on, but much better technique from Doheny. Clean hit.
Yeah, and to be fair to PJ Moore, it was the right delivery to do that too. A little bit fuller, could get the full swing of the bat. The one that PJ Moore opted for was a better length delivery in terms of from the bowler. So good finish that over for the Munster Reds, 18 for 2 after 3. Tom Hayes will continue from the Sunday's well end. Shaping it into the left-hander, but that angle across means that Paul Stirling's still interested. He's in slip. Point and square, the 2 out.
That could be out. That could be out. It is. You mentioned it, just going across the left-hander. A bit of a flash. I heard the nick. Quite a clear nick on the sound there we could hear. Through to Neil Rock. Comfortable dismissal. Unfortunately, Suleiman Safi's day didn't get much better than yesterday. He gets a single, but that's about all. He's gone for 1, and the Munster Reds already in a bit of trouble. 18 for 3.
Yeah, reeling. And it just wasn't the right ball to play this shot to. Good length as always from Tom Hayes. You know you're going to get that. You know you're going to get extra bounce as well. Shot just not on whatsoever. Safi decides to wait for the decision, but I think he knew himself that it was a pretty thick edge. So disappointing day for him, disappointing couple of days. He'll be hoping he gets to retain his spot tomorrow to see can he put things right, but it's Philippe Leroux, the Munster Reds captain, who has to come out with his team once more in a big spot of bother. They were 31 for 3 yesterday, and they're in a worse spot now, 18 for 3.
Yeah, very similar circumstances in terms of the score. Obviously today they're setting a target. Yesterday they were chasing the 191 of the Warriors, and it didn't go their way at all at the start of the innings, only a late rally. But today they're setting a target, and already 3 batters back in the pavilion.
2 slips in now.
Yeah, right on the hunt here, the Knights.
The problem that Munster Reds have is that a bowler like Tom Hayes, once they start bowling at you, once you allow them to bowl at you, he's very good at keeping a length, just small variations. You need to try and change something, but very difficult to do that when you find yourselves 18 for 3.
Yeah, and actually his opening partner at his club, Warringstown now, he's moved to Warringstown, so he's very, very similar. Graham Hume plays for the Warriors, obviously they both bowl for Warringstown, and you can see they're very, very similar in that if you let them bowl, they will bowl there all day. And you see a lot of times batters in international cricket particularly trying to get Hume off his length very early. Otherwise he can. He's got that ability to just sit on a length. Tom Hayes very similar in that mode.
A little bit short, just as we talk about his consistency, but quick enough that Leroux's not able to take full toll. Does get off the mark though. Lots of left arm spin for the Northern Knights to come. Cian Robertson and Carson McCullough were impressive yesterday. 2 for 29 for Robertson, 1 for 28 for McCullough from their allotments of 4 overs. So if you don't like left arm spin, don't play against the Northern Knights. 3 in their lineup. This is a great shot. Flayed over the offside, smashed for another 6. Stephen Doheny is putting all the things that are happening down at the other end out of his mind, and he's playing his own game.
Yeah, he very much is playing his own game. He's on to 18. It's a power play shot. And you see one there. The ball, yep, disappears into the hedges there.
I've seen a lot of Stephen Doheny batting this season, and he's hit it over cover a lot. Seems to be a favourite area. He used to get caught in point quite a lot. He used to be a strength and then turned into a weakness, and I think he's trying to change that by going a little bit straighter. Kind of suiting him that the fielder out is point on the boundary. Short one just helped around the corner. Be a lot of work to do in the deep.
He's actually done well there. Was it there down there? Because it took a little hop as he went to do the fielding. He managed to get his hand on it, keep it down to 2. But Stephen Doheny's show here at the minute. He's got the 20 of those 27 runs. And he's still there, which is all important for the Reds. 27 for 3. 4 overs gone.
Well, I think it's going to be a lot of this. One left arm spinner being replaced by another. Is Modgill the first man out, run out without scoring? But they're a little bit quiet in that tent, I would imagine.
Yeah, it can't be a good day. Cannot be a good day when you've just been run out, just with only a couple of balls faced.
Although when JB was our coach, he used to chat a lot. I think I can see him talking away there with a smile on his face. Very chatty coach.
But yeah, just you're talking about left arm spin, quite a lot of it in the Knights. It's a bit of a going forward. Could be a bit of an issue in terms of their seam attack, losing Matthew Foster to injury. Sort of does leave the cupboard a little bit bare in terms of seamers at the moment. Sean Davey on the side today, he's just warming up in front of us here.
Well, I just can't wait to see Cade Carmichael.
From yesterday.
3 runs from the final over of the innings when he had to step up to the plate. Short and clothed. Stephen Doheny frustrated there. He's trying to very specifically go wide of mid-on rather than pull it to mid-wicket. Didn't quite manage it. Very different type of left arm spinner is Robertson.
To do the fielding again. Yeah, that is a good point. They're all left arm spinners, but certainly the two we've seen so far are very different in their methods.
Forget about trying to beat mid on either side. Beat him over his head. That one's gone many a mile. Dealing in 6s at this point, Stephen Doheny.
Yeah, that's lovely. Just watch his balance when he actually makes contact here. Although he's moving as the ball is bowled. Good base to hit from. Almost like a baseball shot there. That's out on the road, I think. Very, very nice from Doheny.
He got a couple of opportunities in the international team, didn't he? A few years ago against Bangladesh. Didn't really stamp his authority on his position. He's been in the wilderness, and I think he's added a lot of physical strength to his game, Stephen Doheny, in the last 12 months. He played in Australia, for Kensington, up in Adelaide, and did really, really well. One of the few Irish players from the men and the women to go abroad and actually have a big season. But yeah, for me, he looks physically a lot stronger. I think the numbers say that as well, because he's hit 3 6s. There's another one, possibly.
4. That's 4. That one's gone as well to a different area. Gone square with a sweep. That's gone out the park again.
I love this shot because we were talking about different types of spinners. Robertson doesn't have as much pace as Humphreys, so you have to get in a really good position to send this for 6. Look at his head here, right to the ball. Stays in position, gets the wrists around, and all those bits and pieces together combine to send it for 6. If you get one of those parts of the technique wrong, you're getting caught in the deep.
Yep, looks like he's playing a different game here. The rest of his team. Doheny. posing a few questions here for Robertson. Talked about it yesterday. Robertson, the type of cricketer that likes a challenge. Well, Doheny certainly laying it down to him now. Back-to-back sixes.
I think as a spin bowler, when you get taken off the back foot over long on and then swept for six, you start to wonder, might be the slow one outside off next. Spirit in, really good piece of fielding on the offside. Ben Callett's full stretch, had to use every inch of the wingspan to stop that going for four. Very, very useful stuff. 14 from that over. 5 overs gone. Munster Reds on the rebuild. 41 for 3.
Yeah, good over for the Reds, as you say. Doheny taking those 2 sixes in different areas. 33 from 11. Doheny. He's going to need some support. They're going to set a big total here. Looking at the lineup for the Knights, as we've already referenced. Pretty strong batting lineup. Starting at there, coming in today. But right down, so they're going to need a fairly decent total, you would expect.
Well, or they can put it on 131 and see if they can take 5 or 6 wickets. But no, look, the thing about T20 cricket is genuinely, if one person comes off and comes off big, you can win games that way. It doesn't really feel like that for 50 over cricket, but 20 over cricket you can. So it's whether Stephen Doheny can go big.
Is that second seamer in the Knights lineup today? For not including Keith Carmichael.
And
call him that.
Yeah. He's a seamer. No, he's a seamer. He's a
seamer, okay. Fast bowler then, I was saying.
Yeah, he's not a fast bowler.
Fast medium.
Sean Davies, medium. Kay Carmichael is a seam bowler.
Okay.
Tom Mays, fast bowler. This is something that we debate in the Cricket Ireland offices, because for Cricket Info you've got to update these things, especially when players change their bowling styles. So Chris Griffin's constantly wondering, is someone medium pace? Are they medium fast? Are they fast medium?
RMF
medium slow? Well, I mean, if you ask a lot of players, they'll say fast.
But really not.
It's definitely take it with a pinch of salt. One of the things that happens when you do the European ICC events, and you go down the list and everyone says right arm fast, and you're thinking, I'll see. We'll
check
I'll
that
be
out
the
later.
judge. Sean Davey to LaRue. Oh, that's a good length. Very, very good length. And you can see why Paul Stirling's still in slip. Much like Leinster Lightning earlier, they spotted an opportunity to keep taking wickets, regardless of the fact that the ball's going the distance from the bat of Stephen Doheny. Can we keep on nipping wickets down the other end?
Well, we've seen this morning that was the method from the Lightning. Runs were coming, but they were taking wickets at the same time.
I reckon Philippe Leroux just looks like a captain who's worried about losing his wicket rather than playing his natural game, which I can totally understand. Not a criticism by any means, but it just looks like he's caught in two minds, trying to just get a single, get down the other end. They're going to take Paul Stirling out of slip and try and make sure that Leroux doesn't get off strike easily.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I think he's played really well in the IP20 early in the season, Leroux. Just these last 2 games so far, playing a little bit within himself, and he's gone for a big shot. He's top edged it, and the catch is taken. And another wicket falls.
I think, is that Robertson?
It's Cian Robertson who's come round. Yep.
And that's what can happen when you go too defensive and then you panic. And LaRue goes for 2 from 6, and it's a disappointing end for the Munster Reds captain. 42 for 4.
Yeah, it is a disappointing end. Yeah, probably looking to go into that kind of corner area, but ball bounced on him, takes the top edge, and a decent catch from Robertson coming in to make sure.
It's tough enough that as the ball was going up, I found myself hoping that he might drop it, because I just thought, oh, this game could do with maybe that one going down. Give Philippe Leroux a second chance, but not to be. The catching has been really good from the Northern Knights across the 2 days so far. Was it them yesterday who all their wickets were catches? No, there was a stumping in there as well, wasn't there?
There was, yeah. Here's your partnership, you would say. Doheny going well on one end. The best player for the Northern Knights, the Munster Reds yesterday, undoubtedly, was John McNally with both bat and ball, and probably in the field as well. Decent on the boundary too. But he's in for his batting now. As I say, played well yesterday.
Yeah, really important that he starts again here, though. You can't try and pick up where he left off yesterday. Definitely accelerated in the second half of his innings, so he can just play himself in a little bit. And I'd say his natural game really is 50 over cricket, so no problems there. 1 run and the wicket from Davy. Great start from him. And that's the power play over. Munster Reds 42 for 4.
Yeah, Northern Knights on top in the power play. You can see there, started badly after the first ball, second ball. Modgill was run out for naught. Moore then cleaned up by Matthew Humphreys. Safi went for 1 and LaRue's just gone for 2. Single digits all the way for the Reds, apart from their opener Stephen Doheny, who looks as if he's playing on a different surface. 34 of 13 for Doheny out of 42. Mark Hawthorne signals the end of that power play.
You just wonder, are the wickets down the other end going to start putting pressure on Stephen Doheny, or is he just going to keep ignoring it? I think that shot shows that he trusts his partner John McNally. Left-right hand combination.
Take a look at the field here for Robertson to McNally first up. Squeezing a little bit more.
Yeah, mid-off comes in, so there's space over extra and over mid-off. It's an area he likes to hit.
Looked to really, he's really trying to spin that one.
Looks as if he's trying to rush through the over as well. He fielded that and sprinted back to his mark. So I reckon when the fielders come in off the boundary, he'd prefer if they return it to him so he can get in position quickly. Doheny continues to play a different game, just a different gravy in this innings so far. Yet another 6 off his bat, and that brings up the 50 for Munster Reds. Playing somewhat of a lone hand so far. He's going to be hoping that McNally can join the party.
Well, that was an excellent shot. Mentioned in the previous game, players can pick gaps now. At will, that's where the gap was. Over cover. He hit it all the way. Then comfortable single down the ground. Very much a lone hand at the minute. You mentioned that one player can set up a score, but he would dearly like McNally to, first of all, hang around with him, and secondly, pick up the reins as well.
Well, McNally, this innings from Doheny is such that McNally can just look to rotate the strike. Doesn't manage to there, but the 6 helps with the score in that over, 9 from it, and after 7, Munster Reds 51 for 4. Stephen Doheny, 5 sixes so far in his innings and just 7 overs. So great 6-hitting ability from him. But you've got a good stat. What was your stat earlier? I don't think it came true, did it? It was about Lorcan Tucker's.
Lorcan Tucker, yeah,
6-hitting.
He needed, hopefully, revisit it tomorrow, but he needed 2 sixes today.
Did he get one of them?
Don't think he did.
I think he was trying for it.
He needed 30 runs for 500 for the Lightning. Certainly didn't get that. John Davey to continue.
And he got 8 runs, 1-4, no 6s.
1-4, no 6s. Well, we'll revisit that one tomorrow. We've got day 3 of the festival.
Yeah, I've just given it away a little bit there. Sorry.
That's okay.
So Davey 1 for 1 from his 1 over so far. No surprise he retains the ball for his 2nd over now from the Sunday's well end. Is it at that stage where you try and find a way to just get Stephen Doheny off strike?
Yep, that's exactly what's happened. Take the 1. And that rotates to McNally, and his job's the opposite. He's got to find a way to keep Doheny on strike. He's faced the 4 balls so far, McNally. Coming around the wicket. Nice piece of bowling. Targeting the stumps.
Stephen Doheny just walking down to John McNally here to have a word. It's 1 from 5. What he doesn't want is another batsman to play within themselves and then play an overly expansive shot and lose their wicket. So can John McNally show the temperament to just knock it around, play himself in while his partner is scoring pretty heavily? Well, if you offer it up, he's going to definitely play that type of shot. Almost, well, I'd say that was a welcome ball for John McNally.
Yeah, I think so. Just gives him a wee bit of a release.
So score on 53, Doheny on 43. The rest of the team has contributed 10 so far. So it's been a good bowling performance from the Northern Knights, but they have found it difficult against Doheny. Oh dear. That's high. Callett's underneath. Drops it. What have we just witnessed? Did not have that on my bingo card.
No. Yeah. Possibly the sun a little bit, but no excuse really. To be fair, he called it early. Was in position, but yeah, this level should be taking that. That could be a memorable point here. Say Doheny's playing a different game at the minute. If he'd have taken his wicket there.
Yeah, there's a bit of a silence around the ground as everyone tries to figure out what exactly has happened there. McNally pushes it into the leg side. They'll look to come back for 2. Good running. Very well weighted delivery. Or very well weighted shot, I should say. And I think with that one, it's an indication that John McNally, his head is in the game. Here's the drop catch. Always moving. That's what you don't want. You want your feet stable if at all possible. walking back. You can almost see the exhale as he went to pick the ball up. A little bit of deft touch, but they'll take 45 on. So good over from Davy once more. Could have had a wicket in it, but he goes for 6 runs. 8 overs gone, and the Reds 57 for 4. With that, Ali McCalmont will take a little break. There's the only 4 bowlers used so far, 2 each. Wickets for all of them apart from Robertson, who's been expensive. And I'm delighted to say I'm joined by Suki Byrne on commentary. Welcome, Suki. Thanks for coming on.
Hi, Isabel. Always lovely to be here.
You can see on the screen that Suki is a director of the MCU. But Suki, I guess the first thing I wanted to ask you about is, I know you're now a director, but you kind of came into your position because of a course that you took.
Yes.
On the front foot. What impact did that course have on you? Well, what is it, first of all, and what impact did it have on you?
So On the Front Foot is a Cricket Island programme that's been designed for the kind of future female leaders in the game. And that's leadership at any level, really. So any kind of female within the game, whether it's a parent who's helping out on a Saturday morning with the games, or somebody in administration, or someone much higher up. It's all about bringing their best side, let's have a look. So let's bring out their kind of leadership qualities within this individual. Fabulously designed programme by Cricket Island. Really great opportunity then as well to meet lots of other people, network within the community.
And I suppose, why do you think that it's an important programme? Because it's very specifically towards females, right?
Yes, I think we've been possibly underrepresented. Well, we still are to a degree within the game here in Ireland. So we really want to increase participation, want to bring more women into the game. It can only be more positive having a lot more diversification in the game. So having those kind of, I suppose, having a wider talent pool really of people who can bring lots of different elements to the game is really, really important. So that's why I'd say, the more kind of women there, the better.
And there have been lots of women who've gone through this program now. It's been through a few. It's been there for a few years now, and lots of women have moved into roles within their clubs and their unions. Like, you're a director of the Munster Cricket Union. That's a beautiful shot from John McNally. Just clubs down the ground, finds the space, just releases a little bit of pressure. But do you think that you've seen a difference in having women involved in those roles, that there are more women involved and maybe different viewpoints are being found because of that?
Yeah, I mean, whenever we bring, I suppose, a different kind of aspect to the game, so whenever we bring in a more diverse community into the game, you do get a wider range of perspectives. So, for example, I think women bring in, I know when I do a lot with the youth, so when you kind of look at the youth setup, very much it's still, ooh, what a shot. I'm watching the game while it's coming to, but very much in that youth setup you will have a lot of kind of male coaches who dominate the setup, but what they fail to sometimes realise is actually, especially when they're managing very young children, there are certain things that they do need to think about in terms of, how we can help nurture those children, actually make sure they stay within the game. And having more women involved in the admin side of things potentially means then that you can say, actually, is this the right time to have a youth section on this particular day? Is this going to be, do we need to have it later? Do we need to have it kind of earlier? You get that kind of whole perspective of kind of, especially when I'm a mother of 2 myself, when we are the ones who are setting that kind of the timetables, etc. You want to be able to say, actually, there are other elements that we need to consider when we're considering, I suppose, it's a more holistic approach to the game, and there are different kind of viewpoints and approaches. And also the other great thing about having more women on board is it really does encourage the girls to stay. So I know here in Munster we're working really hard to develop the girls cricket as well, and having that visibility, having, okay, there is a female presence on the pitch, you know, whether it's someone just in, even if it's just an admin role, if it's a mother who's come in or someone newly come into coaching, it gives those girls that sense of, you know, safety, because a lot of them, I suppose, there's a lot of males around, and when they're younger it doesn't matter as much, but when they get into their teenage years, they want to see other women there, and they want to kind of have that familiarity, and, you know, we want to encourage that as much as possible. We want everyone to feel like there's a lot of each other there, so they could go, actually, there's someone like me here. You know, there's someone like me who's running the youth section now, or who's actually helping out with coaching, or I mean, I found this just even last week when I found there was an under-13s game, and it was mixed boys and girls. And what I noticed was the girls were very much standing at the back, and I was like, come on, girls, you sit right at the front, sit with your team, you know, you're part of this. And just that encouragement and saying you can, like, you know, join in, and you can ask to bowl and put your hand up and be part of this. It is really, really important that they then have like that role model, that really positive role model who can do that, because it then does encourage them, it builds their confidence, and they say, yeah, I can do this. And not to say anything negative towards the boys, because I think they just naturally, again, will just align to other boys and will act in a way that they only know. So we're kind of breaking those patterns and saying, actually, let's have a better pattern here, where actually you are more integrated with each other.
Yeah, and the more girls that play, the more they can have their own teams as well as play alongside the boys, which certainly when I was 11 I played with the boys. Once I hit 12 they started getting a little bit stronger and bowling a little bit quicker. I was a little bit worried about getting hit by the ball. Matthew Humphreys has changed ends here, and Stephen Doheny doesn't care who's bowling, he's going to keep on looking for sixes, and McNally's raced to 17 from 15, but Stephen Doheny's the one who's been entertaining. 50 up for him in very, very quick time, just 21 deliveries for that half century. 78 for 4 is the score at the time that he's hit that landmark, and it's almost in the script. You're going to see Johnny Kennedy walking out with the box of balls. We've seen a lot of that in Munster. I mean, I suppose in some ways it's like these guys being down here playing this level of cricket for the youngsters that we've seen in between games and before games and after. They're going around asking the guys for their autographs. They're looking forward to emulating them. A similar kind of thing you're talking about with having adults, females within the games, can only encourage the young girls who we want to get playing. It's not just about getting people involved in admin roles or anything like that, but it's also in the coaching and in the playing side.
Oh, absolutely. Getting female coaches has been really, really important for us. And again, it's that visibility. It's somebody on the pitch with them and being able to... It's the role model, isn't it? Once you see somebody there with you, who's standing by you, who's also a woman, you feel more confident immediately. So we are really trying to encourage women in every single aspect, even, you know, committee levels, you know, be there when the decisions are being made, you know, let's give their input. And I've seen as it's worked really successfully. We've really encouraged women to come on board as directors into the PU here. So MCU now has 3 female directors, which is fabulous. And
it's a fabulous shot from John McNally. That's gone all the way for 6. Oh no, in fact it's 4. Apologies. Just about bounced before the rope. Ali McCalmont's confirmed, but a lovely strike nonetheless. John McNally's come in a little bit scratchy at the start, but he's picked up where he left off yesterday. Lovely flowing shot, great hands. I'm not clear from that replay whether that was one side of the rope or the other, but I think down there, I was talking to Scott Irvine, who was worried. Yeah, Scott Irvine was worried that they're in the firing line down there in the corner, the analyst. So that one almost made its way into him. Halfway through the Munster Reds innings, 83 for 4. They'll be very, very pleased with this rebuild. And I mean, you're talking about 3 female directors. How long have you had the 3 female directors now? How long ago were there none?
so I'd say 3 years ago there was none. So all 3 have gone through the On the Front Foot programme.
Wow, okay, that's a big impact for that programme then. I mean, not just in directors though, because we've seen people from that programme go into lots of different areas. So directors, coaching,
Yes.
what else
So what
have
I've
people
seen-
gone into?
I've seen people go into committees now, feeling a lot more confident to be able to sit in committees. directors, becoming female coaches, even just managing teams now and saying, actually, yeah, I've got the confidence to go in and manage the teams and be present. Sometimes actually it's not an easy thing to come walk into a kind of male-dominated arena, especially when, as I said, there's a lot more boys who are playing. So kind of having a female presence, just saying, look, even if you're just at the ground and you're a parent helper, we are more than happy to support you and ensure that you're more visible and your voice is heard and you are of value. That's essentially, that's what people want.
Probably one of the simplest ways to get involved, I suppose, for someone who's been through the program is actually at a ground level, is on committee or as a manager. I love those two examples because every parent especially has those skills already, don't they? They know their kids and they know how to manage people because they've got to manage their household by and large. I mean, I know there are stay-at-home dads out there, but by and large those duties tend to be with the mum, right? So I love that message. So is there any other key message that you give anyone interested in applying for the On the Front Foot program?
Essentially, you know, if you are interested in getting involved, as another thought.
Yeah, he's done really well at accessing that area forward of cover, hasn't he, John McNally? Just using the levers, reaching the full slow one outside off. So your key message.
Yeah. Sorry, my key message has been distracted by the cricket now.
I think that's fair enough, isn't it? That's what we're mainly here for.
Yeah. Key message essentially, look, if anybody's out there female and they are interested in getting more involved in cricket and they want to, especially the biggest thing I found from On the Front Foot is the network you build. You really get to meet women at different clubs, at different PUs, across Ireland. And then again, that for me has been the most impressive thing because I'm like, wow, there's so many really good role models out there. So many women doing extraordinary things. And they're more than happy to mentor you and speak to you and if you've got any kind of queries. So if you are interested, like I said, the key message being you want to get involved with cricket, you are female, and you would like to have a better understanding of maybe yourself and what you can offer in terms of any kind of leadership role that you are taking within the organisation. And leadership is a personal thing. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be a director at the PU level. You could be somebody right at ground level, and that's probably where we need our most effective leaders. Join the programme, find out more about it. There's a lot of information on Cricket Ireland's website about it. Please join. And I know that there are definitely women, I mean, I've spoken to them who think, oh gosh, no, it just sounds like it's too much about cricket. I don't know enough about cricket. It's, too technical. I haven't done leadership for a long time. Or, a lot of parents, like you say, sometimes they're stay-at-home mums and they lose their confidence a bit because they're not in that, they're in a different environment now and they think, oh, this is a little bit out of my comfort zone. And I just say, go for it. You've got absolutely nothing to lose. In fact, at the very least, you will gain a lovely set of new friends and, new acquaintances that you'll get to know. There's only positives, really.
I suppose as well, the thing to point out is if you go through the programme, there's no saying that you have to pick up a formal role within a club either. You can just be more engaged within your club or with if you've got kids, with their cricket, and even from understanding the leaders that work with your kids, understanding their point of view, maybe it can be really helpful. Well, thank you so much for your time, Suki. I was just going to ask you to maybe give an indication of exactly how, if someone's listening and they're thinking they'd like to get involved, they'd like to apply, it's on the Cricket Ireland website.
Yes, it is.
And what's the kind of commitment?
It is. It's very much an online course. There's only 2 days when you are expected to go up to Dublin, but those are really good days. They're like full interactive days in person, but otherwise there are about 6 kind of online modules that they will do, which gives you that flexibility, and they're in the evening as well.
Slap for 6.
Ooh.
Once more, Stephen Doheny continues to motor, having crossed the 50-yard mark, and there's a mentoring facility in there as well, isn't there?
Absolutely.
So you get someone who's paired with you, who helps you through the programme, right?
Yep.
Okay. So no excuses, everyone out there. Please go and take a look if anything that Suki has said has piqued your interest. You don't have to become a director like she has, but if you'd like to, then great. Let's make 3-4 if you're down the Munster Cricket Union. Slapped again over extra cover. And Stephen Doheny just seems to be in a mood. Well, Suki, thank you so much for coming on. We'll hopefully have you on again sometime very soon. Ali McCalmont's getting burnt out there in the sun. He's been looking in for a while.
Thank you so much, Isabel. It was a pleasure.
Thanks, Suki. So like I said, to anyone listening out there, if you're interested in getting involved in leadership, if you're a female, you don't have to have played cricket. You don't even have to understand the rules. You can still get involved in on the front foot program. I saw Ali there, and he was just, the only frustration for you, Ali, is you're not a female, so you can't take part in the program.
No, not allowed, I'm afraid.
100 up, sorry, with that 4.
Yep, sounds a really good initiative to get all types of people, as you mentioned. It doesn't have to be a cricket background. You can come in and lend your expertise to the program, and just in the same as a cricket team, it takes all different types of abilities. And yeah, if you're interested in helping out, certainly check out all of those initiatives.
I mean, well, from my own point of view, when I was playing, my mum wasn't able to get involved. I had a friend's mum that managed all of our teams. She didn't play cricket really, managed our teams at club, at Interpro, at Irish level, and ended up getting an ICC award for volunteering. So it just shows that you don't necessarily have to be involved in the cricket side. It's about getting involved in general. And for me, it was really important, and for me and my twin sister Cecilia, to have that kind of leadership from a female in particular.
Yeah, well, we see it here in this festival in the men's game, in terms of the infrastructure that goes behind these festivals and the teams and things like that. So certainly to have support as a player, as an or just part of a young group, to have other people who have different ideas certainly helps. You've got that support and backup.
Mays, slower ball, but beautifully directed once more. Humphreys can't cut it off. It's an expensive over from Mays. He's gone for 35 in his 3 so far. 12 gone, 107 for 4.
Yeah, Doheny just continues on his merry way here. This one I've been outside there in the sun for a few moments. It was nice to just stand out there, but you can hear it's even more so out there, the crack off the bat. We mentioned about Scott McBeth's bat earlier on for the Warriors not sounding the best, but I can tell you Stephen Doheny's got a good piece of willow out there. A crack off it has been excellent today. He's been really, really good. 65 runs now, this partnership off just 37. I was just leaving the comm box when that catch went down, so I kind of forgot to write down. Maybe you not noted it.
43.
43 he was on, so already 25, and expensive drop possibly if Doheny can go on here. Could be looking at.
I'm going to make one last point to build on what Suki was talking about, and then we'll leave the on the front foot for now. One of the other really important things about having females involved, they'll think more about participation rather than the elite level stuff. So at club level, it's so important that you don't get caught up too much in the players at the top. They'll stay around, they'll get better. It's the players below that who maybe aren't as competitive, want to be involved in a sport, just want to play for the enjoyment of the game. Female leaders will generally think of those kids and make sure they're looked after. So it can't be underestimated how important the people within a club who facilitate every level of player are in a club in particular. Maybe not at Interpro level, it's not as important, but he's found the gap. How has he done it? It's his day, Stephen Doheny. There's 3 fielders there, quite close together. He's found the gap between short third and backward point.
Yeah, he played beautifully, so he probably earns that little bit of fortune to pick the gap. He picks up 4 more.
Real catchable height, a few yards either way, and that would have been straight into the hands of one of the 2 fielders there.
Down the ground for 1. Yeah, and I'll make my final point on that. What you've just mentioned there, that is kind of my thing. When I'm back home, I'm not on the media. Kind of look after a lot of primary schools, and that's exactly what I'm trying to do is participation, get people involved, and cricket is a great sport for that because you can do things like football and rugby. It kind of, it's down the ground. That'll be 6 more right in the slot there for McNally, and he is picking up the mantle we asked for. These two ticking along now.
Well, it seems like a long time ago that they were 42 for 4, the Munster Reds. John McNally from standing position, just a little bit of width. He does have the levers, and that's gone high and handsome. Long off hasn't even thought he was interested for a split second. Just turned around to see, is it maybe going to be a catch off the netting?
Yeah, so as I was saying, just trying to get people involved, and kids can just take a little thing out of a session, maybe a catch or a pickup or a hitting the ball, and they get so much out of cricket that they don't have to play at elite level. Just give them a little bit of enjoyment. Participation can be so important for a club, just to keep it's not all about the first 11. Women's and men's can develop a club mentality around kids that just love the cricket and getting them involved. So yeah, good program there on the front foot, and give it your support if you can.
Yeah, 100%. I think it took me a long time. 13 hours gone, 120 for 4. It took me a long time to realise that everyone has different goals. For some people it's getting 130 deliveries. Other people it's literally just hitting their first ever cricket ball. So it's from meeting people where they are. And where Munster Reds are is in a fine position. 120 for 4. And well, let's have a look. End of the power play, they were 42 for 4. In the ensuing 7 overs, they've added 78.
Yep, it's
63 in the last 5.
We often talk about hindsight, but can't really see anybody who would have seen this coming. I mean, Doheny was playing on his own. McNally has done that role that we had asked for somebody to do, and he's actually shown what the Warriors maybe could have done earlier. Just backed yourself in, and he's now 37 from 26, having given himself a little bit of time.
Yeah, and to be fair to the Warriors earlier, they didn't have a batsman in like Stephen Doheny. So it was kind of 2 players each of them trying to be the enforcer. So it was slightly different, but yeah, I think if you want to learn how to come in at 6 when your team's in trouble, then McNally's shown how it's done, albeit Stephen Doheny was taking all the pressure onto himself. 73 from just 30 deliveries. Incredible stuff. I reckon if we had a shot of Jeremy Bray right now, he'd be chatting away about the strike rate of his opener. Well, could this be a chance? Matthew Humphreys can't get around. He decides not to go for the catch. Instead, he decides to cut off the ball. I don't think he could have got there. It's a good judgment from him.
Yeah, wide of Humphreys initially. Thought he had a bit of a chance there, but it was sliced wide of it. Humphreys it long off. Having a little chat with the bowler here about his positioning.
A little change in pace. Doheny maybe threw the shot a little bit too early, so he bunts it down to long on. He just seems to have a really clear understanding of what lengths he wants to attack. When it's not in the area he wants, he gets a single. When it is, he backs his ability to clear the ropes. Seems so simple. But
it does. When somebody does it like this, it does seem such a simple game. Why can't everybody do that? But yeah, he has played really well for his 76 so far.
Either side, a couple of yards either side. That's 4, but goes straight to the fielder at 45. Whereas Ben Callets, he's having a think about that drop on 43 right now. I'd say it hasn't gone far from his mind since then.
Definitely not. He'll want a wicket pretty soon on Callets.
That was in the 8th over that shot drop went down. Yeah, because I had just said at the time he was on 43, the score was on 53.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, I've put the mockers on him. My blushes were saved. He's bowled excellently, hasn't he, Davey? Just small differences, not afraid to bowl a change up, 1 for 12 with 1 delivery to go in his 3 overs. But another 6 will somewhat ruin the figures of that over. 11 from it, 14 gone, and Munster Reds 131 for 4.
Yeah, the last ball is in the slot there. That's the one that Doheny's been waiting on. You mentioned about the areas he's really targeting. Anything in that pitched up area, especially at this end. Straight down the ground, and again, 6 more.
82 for him. 4 fours, 7 sixes for Stephen Doheny. After he ran Modgall out, he looks like he feels like he's got to score the runs for both of them. Safi and LaRue went in quick succession, but McNally has joined Doheny, and together they're piling on the runs.
Yeah, these two have really taken it back to the Knights. Run rate currently over 9.36. 6 to go. Definitely didn't see this 45 minutes ago. Fair play to these two, taking the fight to the Knights. And here's your guy, is he? Kate Carmichael throwing the ball in the 15th over.
Seamer.
How's that hospital pass?
Look, I think he's someone who'll relish this opportunity. It's all about how you see it, Ali.
It is.
And I think that Carmichael sees his over yesterday as buying him an earlier over today. He's bowling the 15th instead of the 20th. The spins maybe not working out for them. Keep her up. John McNally cloths it. He's decided not to come back for the second. Maybe he fancies a bit of Cade Carmichael, but could this be the matchup for the Northern Knights? People always underestimate the skill that goes into bowling dibblies.
Oh, he's not a seam bowler anymore, he's a dibbly doubler.
Seam bowlers can be dibbly doublers. Now, all respect, I'm counting myself in that in that company. A seamer that can bowl with the keeper up to the stumps is a very, very useful number, because when you have a fast bowler who can't bowl their short ball because the keeper's up, then they can get lined up a little bit. But a slower seamer like Cade Carmichael, that doesn't come into the equation. Kevin O'Brien, that type of seamer. Now, he was a lot taller, I know, but lots of change-ups like that. And the chance in the air. Golden arm, Carmichael. John McNally will be kicking himself. He's just served that up to Ross Adair on a platter. Comes in off the boundary, gets himself set. And Cade Carmichael, you said it's a hospital pass, but I think it was a piece of genius. McNally goes for 40 from 30. Munster Reds 133 for 5.
Yeah, where's he been? Where's he been? Where's he been? What have you been doing, skipper?
You weren't saying that 2 minutes ago.
Brilliant for Carmichael, yeah. It's a really good point. Some people just love the challenge and difficult time to bowl, but give me the ball anyway.
Well, the thing is, he bowled the short ball, and John McNally was not expecting it. Wasn't set, wasn't in a good position. If he'd been expecting the short ball, I reckon he would have gotten a good position and would have launched that over the tents. But as it was, he was in no position to hit it. So a really brilliant partnership comes to an end. Not quite 100 between them, but they've given the Munster Reds a platform, and Doheny's still out there. 91 of 52 was that partnership, so a brilliant one for Munster Reds, which they really needed to try and get their first win in the Interprovincial T20 trophy.
Yeah, good counter punches, you would say. They were under the pump early on, the Reds. Cried out for somebody to support Doheny. McNally certainly did that. As always, when you lose your wicket, you always look back and say, could I have done anything different, but real good counter punch. And as we say, give himself time there. Didn't just go ball one. Possibly the situation dictated that, but give himself a little bit of time before he took on the bowling. But Cian Hilton now out in the middle. He's another one of these quick players. Gets in and out very quickly. Gets back for two. Just ball again, just drifting past the circle. Of course, Cian Hilton plays his club cricket in the NCU, so he'll have played against all of these opponents quite often.
A good respect from Cian Hilton there. He's not thinking boundaries. He's, despite the fact that it's Cade Carmichael, just look to knock the ball for two. Goes for a single. I think his job for the remainder of the innings, well, while Doheny's still there, is just to try and get Doheny on strike as much as possible.
That's the case here for the last ball of the over. Well bowled, really well bowled. You saw Doheny moving leg side, followed him, but also well batted from Doheny. Didn't decide to go through with the shot, just happy to take the single then, keep the strike. He's on 84, Hilton on 3, 137 for 5.
A good little gamble that from Neil Rock, the captain. I'd be interested to see if Cade Carmichael just runs straight up and grabs the ball next over from the Mardyke walk end, but as it is, Matthew Humphreys will come on for the Sunday's well end. It's definitely got to be a case of trying to get Stephen Doheny off strike. I wonder then, will we see a tighter field for Cian Hilton?
Yeah, Humphreys went for a few in his last there. You can see his first 2 overs were very economical, and for a few in his last, still a decent return from Matthew Humphreys. Mays, Robertson and McCulloch all going over 10, but Davy and Carmichael in that 1 over, going to run a ball. It's an important 5 overs, as we always say in T20 cricket. Going into the mid-innings break. 5 to go. Can the Reds kick on?
They've got a few players in their middle and lower middle order and lower order that can hit a few sixes, but definitely want these two together for a couple of overs at least. A little chip, and it's going to be enough. Another 6 to add to the total for Stephen Doheny. I'm not even sure that was where he was planning on hitting it. I think he was looking straighter, but goes through with the swing, and it's enough here at the Mardyke to add to his tally of 6s and bring him to 90.
Yeah, we'll see. This one looks like playing off the first tee here. He's kind of sliced this one. Yeah, he got enough on it, as you say here. Clear Carson McCulloch.
How many 6s?
Plenty. I'm just looking at.
I want you to take a guess. I know.
Well, you know.
I looked it up. I'm not saying I know off the top of my head.
9.
Very good. Let me see. Have you got the score sheet?
No, I'm actually looking at fastest hundreds in the T20 trophy here. He's bang on course. He only needs 10. He's got 15 balls to do it.
2 fielders in the deep on that side. Matthew Humphreys is incredibly good at setting a field for what he's going to bowl. He had point, cover and long off out. So flatter, full one outside off. And he's able to get Doheny off strike. Hilton will have an extra cover in tight. Will anyone else be brought in to try and get a few dots at this end?
Yeah, nobody on the leg side. So can they dot a few balls here? They can. This is a game within a game here. Obviously the Knights looking to keep Doheny off strike. Hilton looking to get him on strike. all opportunities, because, as we've mentioned, 91 off 38. You want him to face as many of these 27 balls.
I think that might be the first time I've seen Paul Sterling field a ball this game.
Yeah, not being involved too much.
Tricky little number to negotiate, but Hilton did well, squeezed that out, scampered down the other end. Says to Stephen Doheny, your turn. 26 deliveries remaining. How well the Munster Reds do depends very much on how many of those 26 deliveries, because that was a wide, how many of those Doheny faces, because currently he's at, what's his strike rate? 250?
250, I would say, yeah.
So if he faces most of those, then they can look well north of 200. Northern Knights will be hoping to keep Cian Hilton on strike. Ben Callets does well. I reckon it probably was too.
Yeah, I think a little slip from Hilton there. Just put him off a little bit. Probably could have got two, but as you say, Callets got the ball back. This ball of Humphrey's spell. Currently 1 for 31. Get one off the last ball, not the worst result for the Knights. Humphreys finishes that spell, 4 overs, 1 for 32. And the Munster Reds now 148 for 5, 4 overs to go.
All eyes on Cade Carmichael. He's heading to the boundary. His 1 over for the game is done. Broke the partnership, and he's just heading back out to do his work out there. Long discussions between Cian Robertson and Captain Neil Rock. I think that's probably a good call from Neil Rock. All respect to Cade Carmichael, but you'd imagine that Stephen Doheny would probably line up the seamer if he got a second over. Turn to your out-and-out bowlers.
Yeah, this is possibly the issue we're talking about. Just with the trying to get through those front line. Let's call it your front line seamers then. Mays and Davey fight Matthew Foster in the team today with injury. Robertson gonna bowl. That's gonna go for 4. Nice shot behind. As he said, just runs away down to that boundary. Rossett there set off to try and cut it off, but gave up very quickly.
Yeah, have a look at how quick these hands are. He's a keeper, Cian Hilton, a generally good square at the wicket, gets in position early, whips the hands through, and you can see the speed with which his follow through happens. Usually good on the sweep as well. It's going to be a race, and I can't believe that they're appealing there. I think it's more as a joke, but one, I don't think it was going to hit the stumps, and 2, Cian Hilton didn't know where the ball was, so he couldn't possibly have run a line. I think he's probably just frustrated he didn't manage to miss the fielder in 45, Matthew Humphreys. And he's managed to find the fielder in the deep. I think he was hoping to go more over or through point. It's a different field for Hilton and Doheny. For Hilton, Rossiter has gone very, very square. For Doheny, there's 3 fielders saving 1 between cover and third, and then there's quite a straight cover on the boundary. What a delivery. Takes all the pace off, does Robertson. Clever bowling. Hilton was waiting for the quicker one. A little bit of turn, and he loses his off stump. So another breakthrough. Just what the doctor ordered for the Northern Knights. A breezy 10 from 8 from Cian Hilton. Munster Reds 154 for 6.
Yeah, nice a piece of bowling there from Cian Robertson. You called that right, just held it back a little bit. Possibly Kane Hilton was expecting the quicker delivery. See it here. Just threw it up a little bit. Playing with half a bat, really. That's probably where he fell down there. Trying to run it down in the end, but a little bit of turn beats him. Loses his off stump.
Well, this is an exciting development. Back to your Nabi out in the middle. And he made 24 from 13. A very stylish 28 yesterday. And in particular, when he comes down the pitch, he's entertaining. Not out of the technique book, you would say, how he comes down the pitch, but very good to watch. Likes to go down the ground.
Just like that.
Well, I think he'd prefer it actually
He'd
goes
prefer
down
to have
the
got
ground.
the ball to go down the ground, but he came down the ground.
Look,
that's where he was looking.
he got off strike. That's the main thing. He's up and running. Doheny 93 from 40. One delivery remaining. Does he just tick it over, get the strike next over? I think it just depends what delivery is served up by Robertson. Yeah, just he'll be happy with one, I think.
Yeah, they probably could have pushed two there, but they're happy enough to take one, leave Doheny on strike. He moves to 94. That's our focus right now. 94 from 41. 3 overs to go. 156 for 6.
Yeah, 4 overs for Robertson finished there. He finished at 1 for 44.
Again, that's one of those ones he's probably bowled better than that.
A couple of sixes,
Yep.
and your figures are ruined.
Pretty quickly. It's going to be Sean Davey. He's got the best figures at the moment, you would say. Going to bowl over 18. Stephen Doheny. One more maximum short of 100. Will be the fastest 100 in the T20 trophy.
If he gets there.
If he gets there.
Sean Davey bowling his final over. It just feels like he's the one bowler in the lineup that's guessed right. He seems to know what the batters are going to do more often than not. 1 for 18 from him so far. Easily the pick. Stephen Doheny just gave himself room there, and Davey kept it away from him.
That'll be a wide, just outside the line of the marker.
Yeah, full and wide. The only danger there is that third is in the ring. So Stephen Doheny, if you can just get any height over those ring fielders, it's a boundary option. Instead he gets length, and that'll be the 100 up for Stephen Doheny. A famous 100 for Munster Reds from just 43 deliveries. Incredible batting from the opener. 10 sixes, 4 fours, and a strike rate of 232. If you don't mind, his team were in a hole at one point at the end of the power play, but he's dug them out of it, and he crosses that 100 mark for a record century.
Well, what a way to go to it. It's 10th 6 of this innings. A length ball, balanced again, picks out that area. Brilliant 100.
His job's not done though. He's going to add another 6 to the tally. That's the 11th one. Well, Rolly Black
Pretty
is just
sure that's
asking in the
6.
deep, is it 6? And it is.
Yeah.
It's only just about got over the rope, but it did get there just about. Richard Holdsworth and Brenda Hand doing the fielding over the rope there. Back-to-back sixes, a good start to the over with that dot, but it's been pain since then. He waited on that so well.
Beautifully done by Ross Adair down there. Saves the boundary. Good teamwork.
I'll tell you what, that running from Stephen Doheny tells you he hasn't had to do that much running in this innings, because he's hit 11 sixes, 66 of the runs from maximums, 24 from fours. So he's able to run twos in the 18th over and put the dive in.
Another one. There'll be another one. Another maximum for him. He gets a dozen. And he's now closing in on the highest score now. That's 116.
He didn't get all that.
Yeah, he knows himself he hasn't moved. He knows it's going, but he didn't get that one in the middle. 77 for 6 now. Last ball of the 18th. And that's in the gap as well. It's going to run away for another 4. And Stephen Doheny putting on a show.
So highest score in the IP20s was previously held by Ross Adair. What was it,
116.
16. So Doheny now holds that record, and he's scored all around the ground. Have a look at all those red lines. Those are all his sixes. He's not too worried about any ramps. Don't you worry about the area behind him. He's very concerned with the area from cover all the way around to mid-wicket. That's been his strong area, and he's played a brilliant hand here against the Northern Knights, who would have been forgiven for thinking they were well on top at the end of the power play. But since then, it's been the Stephen Doheny show. And he's still got a couple of overs to see if he can keep on adding runs. Not on strike at the moment. Can Neil Rock come up with a plan to keep Nabby on strike? And when you need a partnership broken, there's only one man you turn to if you're the Northern Knights. Kate Carmichael back into the attack, gets his second over. He only bowls the tough overs, Ali.
That's it. That was a really interesting wagon wheel graph there, wasn't it? Not a run really behind square, really. Everything in front.
Point, yeah, few 3 points, but
pretty much everything in front. You know, we talk about T20 these days, lots of ramps and sweeps, reverse sweeps, nothing behind the wicket really. And he's on 118.
I think he's really enjoyed himself out here today. Kate Carmichael now. And there's one behind point. Slashed away over point for another 6. Not sure how he's added the pace to that to send it all the way, but he has managed it. It's his day, Stephen Doheny. He's trying every shot in the book.
Well, yeah, nothing behind square. There we go. And that's probably the first one where he's kind of lost his shape a little bit. He's been balanced beautifully throughout the innings. And there's the ramp, would you believe? Would you believe?
He didn't want to leave one area of the ground without a little line through it.
Well, he didn't play it very well, let's put it that way.
I think that's the reason.
Stick it down the ground,
yeah.
Stephen.
35-run partnership there. Doheny's 32 out of it. Nabby contributed just 2. Hasn't had a lot of the strike, to be fair to him.
But that's really good from the Reds. They've done what we said, get Doheny on strike. Out of a 35-run partnership, he's only faced 2 balls. And there's what he can do. Straight to the fielder. That's maybe why he's been facing just the 2 balls.
I just wonder what was the thinking there, because Stephen Doheny's smacking it from one end. Just get off strike.
Yep.
Anyway, he hasn't managed to do it. Nabby, he's gone for 2 from 3 and has to take the long walk back. Callets takes the catch. Munster Reds 189 for 7.
Yeah, you talk about Ben Callets taking the catch, but we mentioned it at the time, but he takes this one, but there was one earlier. Probably as easy as this one, which he didn't take. Stephen Doheny was on 43, as you've mentioned.
That was back in the 8th over, so it's been a long time since then.
Knocked them all over. Ian McCarthy right in the middle with 8 balls remaining.
Yeah, I think Liam McCarthy, well, look, he can hit a big ball, so maybe if it's in his arc, he's particularly strong over mid-wicket. He'll maybe try and take Carmichael down, but he should probably just look to get Doheny on strike. 8 deliveries remaining. Well, I don't think that was the plan. I don't think he was hoping to get Doheny on strike, but he manages to bottom edge it onto his pad and scamper down.
He did a little bit of both there, didn't he? He tried to head out of the park and ended up getting the single, which he probably should have done anyway. Gets Doheny on the strike for the last ball of the 19th. 190. Now closing in on 200, the Reds.
Well bowled.
Excellent
Brilliant.
piece of bowling, yep.
Yeah, right in the block hole. Doheny looked to go leg side, try and get it over the offside, but just gets the single. 191 for 7, 1 over remaining. And Cade Carmichael will be having a chat after the game about his abilities with the ball. 2 wickets for him. He's been the most successful bowler in the Knights lineup.
Yeah, the conversation he had last night may have got a little bit louder. Taking the last over yesterday, he may have had a little word to the coaches and the captain, and then today. But as you say, fair play to him.
Yeah.
Being serious for a second, fair play to him. He's
No,
taking the
genuinely.
ball in those difficult overs.
Yeah, well, look, the thing about pace off is it doesn't have to be spin. Sometimes a slower seamer has a place as well, because you have to create the pace. Lots of successful, slow seamers in the men's and the women's game. So, and I think actually the fact that he's a little bit on the short side helps, because it skids through. He's very clear in his plans, looks to get the ball right up there. And yeah, 2 for 16 for his troubles. It's going to be Tom Mays to close things out. Doheny, short arm jab, punches yet another 6 to add to the total. That's 6 number 14 for Doheny.
Yeah, there's quite a crowd has gathered down out there towards that area in the pavilion. And got to keep their eye out here, because Stephen Doheny's been peppering the boundary all day. 14 sixes now. 132, not out.
Really high. Humphreys underneath it, and he just overruns it. He has saved the 4. And
Doheny again gets a life there.
I'm just wondering what happened with the running between the wickets here. Doheny was holding his hands up. I think he just stood still, did he?
Yep.
He had to cover so much ground there, Matthew Humphreys, that he didn't manage to judge it very well. It's actually ended up a dot. And Doheny's judged this one well. Big full toss on leg stump, just did not execute at all there, Tom Mays. Looking for the leg stump Yorker. He's missed by a good couple of feet.
200 up from the Reds. 4 down early on. Certainly didn't see that coming, but we certainly didn't see this innings coming from Stephen Doheny. Class all day. 2 more 6s in this last over. Neil Rock's come down, trying to work out basically how to prevent Stephen Doheny hitting the ball in that.
Yeah, he's got 15 sixes so
area,
far.
yeah.
There's 3 balls remaining. So, I mean, the Northern Knights now, they've got power hitting in their lineup, but you still don't want to be chasing too far north of 200. That's well bowled. Pace off, sliced away. Come back for a second. And for Tom Mays, it's how can I stop a 6? And if I can, how can I stop a 4? And if I can, how do I stop the 2?
Yeah, in that chronological order, you're trying to prevent the ball going out of the park, but then you'd love to get Stephen Doheny off strike now. 2 balls to go.
150 still on for Doheny. There's the 4.
Yeah, straight down the ground. No chance of cutting that one off. 144.
It's a really tough job bowling the final over to someone who's in such a rich vein of form. This one, he didn't miss by quite as much, but still quite a big full toss. And Doheny, I think, was ready for what he wanted to do if he did get the full toss. His focus is lasered in on this boundary behind Mays.
Final ball.
Length and 6. There's the 150. He just turns around and walks off Stephen Doheny. It's been an innings of very, very top class from Stephen Doheny. The second ball of the innings was one he'll want to forget, but it's a long time ago that he ran out his opening partner. Ever since then, he's been right on top of the Northern Knights. 150 from 56 deliveries. An incredible feat for any batsman. 6 fours, 16 sixes in that innings from the Munster Reds opener. And it's been well and truly incredible to witness.
Well, he raises his bat. You can see his coach there. Round of applause, I'm sure. Swapping the Mudgill will be just also clapping him off there, even though he ran him out. Second ball, he's done exactly what you said at the time. He needs to clear his head, and he did exactly that. There is Mudgill run out second ball, but not going to talk about anything else in that innings really, apart from possibly John McNally, who played a really nice hand to support Doheny as he went through the gears. But 150 from just 56 balls. There's that partnership right in the middle of 91 between Doheny and McNally. But I don't really want to talk about partnerships. 150 from Stephen Doheny.
They had a great start, the Knights. Matthew Humphreys started, as he so often does, with a wicket early on, the run out as well. The wickets were shared around. Cade Carmichael, a gem of a couple of overs from him, 2 for 16. But all the bowlers went round the park. Best economy rates were Humphreys and Carmichael. Mays in particular, very expensive, just under 15s for him, 1 for 59 in his 4 overs, as the Northern Knights were made to pay for putting down a chance pretty early on. So, being sent in to bat first, the Munster Reds have set 215 to chase in the second innings by the Northern Knights. It's going to be a tough one, but they have the batting to do it. Make sure you join us in a couple of minutes' time to see the reply. fireworks. That was what we had in the first innings here. Munster Reds against the Northern Knights. The Northern Knights elected to field first, and it seemed like a good choice early on, 42 for 4 in the power play, but 150 from Stephen Doheny later, and things looking very different. However, it's not the end of the story, because we have the most explosive opening partnership in Irish cricket out in the middle. Paul Stirling at the strikers end, excuse me, and Ross Adair at the non-strikers.
Well, yep, there's the fireworks we've seen from Doheny. What's to come here from the Northern Knights? Liam McCarthy opens up. And a fairly sedate single for Paul Stirling.
Yeah, look, I think what they'll have talked about is if one player from Munster Reds can get 150 and 56 deliveries, we don't need to panic. The boundaries aren't too big here. 2 6-hitters, the most prolific 6-hitter in Irish cricketing history, Paul Stirling, at the crease, and someone who hits sixes for fun in Ross Adair, so there's no need to panic. If these two can spend a considerable amount of time, then the Northern Knights are in good shape.
Well, you did make the point in the previous innings there about one player in T20 can just take it away, and we were talking about him playing a lone hand. He did that apart from John McNally, but at the time we were talking about it, you said one player can make a difference in 150. If he can score 150 out of 215, T20 cricket can be like that. So
yeah, and the thing is, it's not just the runs, it's the situation, because wickets were falling around him, but remember, he sold Swapnil Modgill down the river, second delivery of the game. So to be able to overcome that, that's look out for your teeth. Swapnil Modgill was thinking about the catch and just didn't quite reach him. He tried to stop the ball, but I'm actually glad he almost got out of the way, because that was almost a visit to the orthodontist. First boundary.
Yep, not a nice one. And as we say, yep, and this ground does have its little hollows in the field. It hasn't taken long. We got, 2 balls into an innings, or 3 balls, sorry, and slip comes out.
Well, that's the biggest 6 we've seen so far of the festival, and no surprise, it's come off the bat of Ross Adair.
Wow. Well, the groundskeepers during the innings sometimes go up on the roof, have a look across the ground. I saw him up yesterday. They'd have been taking the catch there, because that is over the pavilion onto the top of the roof. Almost swung himself off his feet there, Ross Adair. You'll see the ball hopefully just popping down here. Trees cover it up. Just on that roof behind the trees. Big 6. Big 6 from Ross Adair.
Well, I was going to say, sometimes you wonder, when people put in big performances, they're also dealing with situations around them. Liam McCarthy was punished in his T20I debut. Can he come back strong in this fixture? Yeah, good comeback, but a little bit of a misfield. PJ Moore in 45 manages to stop the boundary, but it goes for 1. But yeah, he was taken down by West Indies, Liam McCarthy. But a learning experience, no doubt. I would say it's one of the toughest batting lineups to bowl to in T20Is. Never easy to do it on debut as well. But he has the Ireland opening pair here to bowl to Liam McCarthy. That's a wide signal by Mark Hawthorne. But yeah, Stephen Doheny had to deal with running out Modgill. He just put it out of his mind. Then he was dropped on 43, put that out of his mind, and went on his merry way all the way to 150.
Yeah, it's a really good point for, let's say, junior cricketers. When that happens in their games, you have to put it behind you. It's like playing and missing him with a bat. You've got to put that away. Get on with the next ball. When the international cricketers talk about that, you've just got to bin it. It's happened. You can't change it.
Yeah, never mind junior cricketers. Senior cricketers find it difficult to do. First over gone. Good start for the Northern Knights. 13 without loss.
be a really interesting innings here. 2:15. They're going to open with spin. There are our umpires. I say we've got a real experienced panel here down for the festival. Johnny Kennedy's on third duty today. Rolly Black and Mark Hawthorne on screen there. Standing today in this second match of today, the fourth of the festival.
Big moment this. Bakhtiar Nabi, the off spinner, opening the bowling from the Mardyke walk end. Off spinner, likes to change his pace, likes to pause in his action as well. Long on, deep mid wicket, the 2 out. Good start. All the fielders have to be ready. And yesterday, Munster Reds, their fielding let them down somewhat, something they'll want to put right today. Have to back up your bowlers. If they can take their chances today, should they come, they could come out with victory. Such good bat speed.
That's a really good point to think about their catches. They've got to take their chances here. They've put a good total on the board. But if they give these guys 2 or 3 chances, then that 2:15 could look pretty achievable.
Really
got to take their chances.
Really important for Irish cricket as well, because you don't get those chances in international cricket. So you want your top international cricketers, if they make a mistake in inter-pro cricket, they're out. So that you don't have that in the back of your mind. You have that habit gone. Club down the ground. But you know you see it in Super Series. We used to see it in Super Series a few years ago. Players would survive 2-3 chances, and then you go into international cricket and you're caught first time you put it in the air. Excellent length here from Nabi, getting through his over quickly. He'll relish this opportunity to bowl to these 2 batters.
The fielders right on the inner ring now.
Deft touch,
He's
PJ
go for
Moore
4.
on the chase, can't cut it off. Not always all about the brute strength for Paul Stirling, sometimes about the deft touch.
Yeah, well, I think he had seen that he was bowling a little bit quick on the length, so he just tried to use the pace. A little bit of width. That's a nice shot, you have to say. Used the pace, deft, rather than brute force.
Nabi knows this ground very well. It's his home ground. Lives in Clonakilty, and a good start from the Cork County man. 5 from his first over, and after 2 Northern Knights, 18 without loss.
Yeah, 4 dot balls in that over. Really key in the power play as well as taking wickets. If you can get a few dot balls, there's the youth section in. Down in that area I was talking about, they're probably going to have to keep an eye on the cricket here.
Yeah,
good to see them in.
Keep your eyes peeled, lads, and take your eyes off it for a moment. And if you're bringing your family down, by all means, but keep a close eye on where the ball's being launched.
Most definitely. Josh Manley, the ball over number 3. Once again, these 2 know each other pretty well now. Play at the same club in the Northern Cricket Union, Manley and Rossadair.
Good work behind the stumps from Cian Hilton. Josh Manley was frustrated yesterday, to say the least. 3 for 46, all 3 wickets came in his last over. Only went for a couple of runs in that over, if memory serves as well. So he definitely was punished early on.
Yeah, I spoke to him actually at the mid-innings. I walked down into the town and bumped into him on the way into the ground. And he was a little bit frustrated. The very word he said, I gave away too many easy hits. He'd be looking to rectify that today.
Right up there in the block hole. That's a safe place to put it. Well, as safe as you can get it for Rossadair. He's not a man to try and play any of these scoops or ramps. Generally plays between extra cover all the way around to square if you're going to test out the top half of his body. I suppose as clubmate Josh Manley's the one who's been there seeing how he gets out, how he scores most of his runs. It can be a positive for him. Edged, gone. What a wicket, big moment in the game. That's one of the big wickets that the Munster Reds will be keen to get rid of. PJ Moore, a keeper himself, stationed in slip. Bit of movement away, and Ross Adair has to trudge off. First one goes. Adair goes for 12, 19 for 1 the Knights.
Yeah, it was a fairly regulation edge, but seemed to take an age to get to PJ Moore. Lots of time it seemed for to get in position, but really important wicket for the Reds. Being discussed on Manley. May have been frustrated yesterday, but I don't really give him a fillip. He takes the wicket of Ross Adair, and as I say, might be brought up once or twice in the Lisburn changing room over the next few weeks.
Yeah, full straight one followed by the one that swings away at a length that Adair felt like he could go after. Went to look over mid-on, and the shape away takes his edge. And I think you said it took a while for it to get to PJ Moore. I reckon that's just the carry of the pitch, isn't it? Good pace. Nice and full to make sure that he could get the swing. And then I think as a slip, those are the ones you enjoy. Such an easy catchable height. Cade Carmichael off the back of a good bowling performance. 2 wickets for him in his 2 overs. Maybe tomorrow he'll get 3 overs, you never know. 1 yesterday, 2 today. He's trying to build up his...
Maybe he's on a workload.
Yeah, his workload, that's the word I was looking for.
He's definitely hit a length here so far.
Yeah, it's almost like he's hit the bat. Cade Carmichael wasn't expecting it on him quite so quickly. The sound not great. And it just shows you what cruel game cricket can be, because Josh Manley, I know it's early in his spell, 1 for 1, having dismissed Ross Adair, one of the most destructive batsmen on the island, and yesterday he couldn't seem to find a way to stop the flow of runs. Another valuable dot. They do have a strong batting lineup though, Northern Knights. Plenty of firepower. Neil Rock didn't get a bat yesterday. Ben Callitz as well. And Morgan Topping, 58 from 24 for him. He's not even out in the middle yet, so there's a lot of big hitters in the lineup. And if there's a criticism of the Northern Knights bowling, it's that they thought the job was done after the power play. And a little bit it felt like that anyway. 42 for 4 they were at the end of the power play, and they just thought, right, we're just going to, if we just keep bowling, we'll take these wickets. And maybe just we didn't see the wicket taking mentality that we saw from, say, Andy Balbirnie earlier today when he was trying to defend a low total, from Lorcan Tucker when Balbirnie was attacking him for Leinster Lightning, even from the Munster Reds captain Philippe Leroux yesterday. He never stopped fighting with trying to take wickets, and they did that at the back end. Well, that won't help. A short one down leg side. Cade Carmichael missed out in the previous occasion, won't miss out here. So good over is blemished with a 6 at the end for Manley, but brings the score to 25 for 1 after 3.
Yeah, Cade Carmichael catches up with this one. Tried to the previous ball to end at it, but gets some swivel with that one. Gets his first 6, and indeed his first runs.
I feel like that's the story of the day. The 2 women sitting in the corner, it was duck, take cover. You have to keep your eye on the cricket here at the Mardyke, because the ball is clearing the ropes with regularity, more often than not in the air as well. So you have to keep your eyes to the sky.
There's the search party. Johnny Kennedy's out in the middle, but he'll not be required because the sniffer dog that is Liam McCarthy has pulled that one out of the hedges.
Well, maybe they're just preparing for the next time when the ball inevitably does at some point find its way out of the ground. They know which the next ball is.
They've already picked it. So again, ringing the changes. 1 over of spin. Nabby's been replaced now by John McNally. Good day with the ball and the bat yesterday and again today. He's putting up a decent little CV so far in the festival. It's only been a couple of games, but good with bat in both innings. Good with the ball yesterday. Can he follow it up here?
Well, his first warm-up delivery before this innings wasn't too great. Let's hope he can do better here. Pulled leg side, too short against Paul Sterling. Just leans back onto the back foot and helps it over mid-wicket into the vacant space for 4.
Yep, not going to get away with that one. Halfway down and not the pace to trouble many batters, but certainly not Paul Sterling. Nice and eased into that vacant leg side. And goes for 4.
Much better length. And Paul Sterling, no idea where that ball had ended up. Trusts his partner's call. Good comeback from McNally. Just a little bit fuller. Those kinds of ones they took the bottom corner of Paul Sterling's bat, and you're, as a batter, you're just waiting to hear, is it crashing into my stumps?
Death rattle behind you.
Chance in the deep. Fielder coming around. Taken. Good catch. Very good catch. Big moment in the game. Josh Manley was out at deep backward point, came around, got in position early. John McNally, his tournament gets better and better because he's just dismissed the Ireland captain for 9. Went for 4, bowled a dot, and then a wicket.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I'd really like to see Paul Sterling play a little bit tighter here, and I don't mean by that defensively. When he's going after the ball, this is what we saw from the Warriors earlier on. Playing square. Man out, Manley comes in, takes it nicely in front of his eyes. 2 down now for the Knights. Sterling goes for 9 from 9. Even though that is a fairly lengthy batting lineup for the Knights. 2 down, chasing 215. Topping and Carmichael in the middle now. And
yeah, there's still plenty of batting to come for the Northern Knights, but 2 openers back in the sheds, that'll please the Munster Reds, no doubt, and no end. And chalk and cheese from their performance yesterday. 2 catches have gone up. They've taken both chances. We said if they're going to win this game, even though it's quite a big target, they're going to have to take their chances. They've done that so far. Edged, and it goes wide of Moore and slip. Big thick edge. Frustration from John McNally, but he should take solace from the fact that he's creating opportunities.
He's just got enough bat on that to take it wide of the slip that's been placed in there. It would have been just one of those moments if you bring a slip in and go straight to him first ball, but just a little bit unlucky. But yeah, he's creating chances. McNally, 2 boundaries possibly, but in the over, but he's got a wicket. Possibly could have got another there.
Lovely looking shot through the offside. Morgan Topping picking up where he left off, and a misfield in the deep won't help things. Stephen Doheny.
He's given a couple back, let's say. That's 148 now.
If only that's how it worked. A bowler would love that, wouldn't they? Oh, these are your runs, not mine. Good big long chase for Stephen Doheny. Made all the ground. And then here just didn't pay attention to the task at hand. A little wobble over his hand. Nice full delivery crowd catch there for John McNally to close out an eventful over. 3 boundaries in it, but most importantly, the wicket of Paul Sterling. 4 overs gone, Northern Knights 37 for 2.
Yep, actually no surprise this, I would suppose, but just been watching Stephen Doheny in this first 4 overs, and unsurprisingly, having scored 150, he's very, very animated out there. I watched him when he took the first wicket. He was the first man to the successful bowler. I'm like high-fiving him, congratulating him. I suppose you look at it and say, I've just scored 150, but it would just take that gloss off if we don't get over the line. Yeah. So he's just up for it here. He wants it. He really, really wants the Munster Reds to win today.
I was literally going to say exactly that. Yeah, it's one thing scoring 150, but you don't want to lose the game. Makes it so much more pleasing if you can get the win as well. Liam McCarthy returns, replaces Josh Manley. That's a powerful strike down the ground. Cade Carmichael knew exactly where he wanted to put that one and follows through. 4 more.
Yep, the boundary's coming here. In the last over and 1 off the first ball here. I mentioned it yesterday about the Knights targeting the first ball.
The thing about chasing a target like 215, or it's 260 they need to get for victory, is that we were talking about in both games people maybe just taking a couple of balls to get the pace of the pitch. Can't really do that here if you're Northern Knights. Helped over.
Look out in the crowd again, same spot. You mentioned those people down there keeping an eye on the game. It's the second one that Carmichael is hitting that area.
Yeah, clever stuff, because Liam McCarthy does angle the ball in at the right-hander, so he's just stayed inside the line, used the pace, and the bat path, so clever, goes down and up to make sure that he gets full value for the shot. A tough start to the over for McCarthy. Too quick at that length. Good carry. Carmichael looking to continue his scoring ways.
Yep, too quick, too close to the body for that one. Gets through for the dot ball. There's Doheny on screen having a chat with McCarthy.
Yeah, just calling for the third in the power play. Instead, it's going to be the third boundary of the over. This one goes all the way for 6 straight. And it's almost like Carmichael's watched Doheny in the first innings and is trying to emulate him. Beautiful strike.
Yeah, can't beat him, join him. That's exactly, we could replace Keith Carmichael's figure there with Stephen Doheny, almost exactly carbon copy of the way Doheny was going about his work. Again, he's in deep conversation with McCarthy, and possibly no better man to talk to McCarthy, because he's just been doing that for the previous innings.
And another 4. So an expensive over this, 20 so far, with a ball remaining for Liam McCarthy. The extra pace, just exactly what Carmichael wants, because he doesn't have to put a huge amount of effort in. He just needs to get a clean strike in the ball, which is exactly what he's done.
Yeah, just watch the follow through here again. He stands nice and still when that bat finishes up. 4 more. Big over here, 57 for 2.
We've seen Liam McCarthy use the short ball. We haven't really seen him try and bowl Yorker, look for the wide line, or slower deliveries. Yeah. So it's just a bit predictable maybe from the fast bowler from Railway Union. Short ball, and that's going to be Another 6. That goes absolutely miles. The extra pace of McCarthy means that it goes into the trees. Probably the only unintentional shot of the over, but it's a really expensive one. It gets the Northern Knights up and running. 26 from it. 5 overs gone. 63 for 2.
Yep, that's carried right the way to the ground. The top edge. You can see it. There you go. Right over the top of the net. Simon Johnston taking cover. He thought that was going to hit the net and come back down again, but it's over the top. And the sight that we've seen quite often, people departing the ground. Sorry, Tector on duty this morning. He headed out into the North Egg Road to collect the ball. He's long since gone, so somebody else has been commissioned to go out and retrieve that one.
Well, Ross Adair and Paul Sterling were the opening pair, and we were saying their wickets were very important, but Cade Carmichael, 32 from 10. If a chance goes up, make sure you catch it. That's what the Munster heads will be thinking. He had a good innings yesterday, got a good start, 29 from 13. Not quite as quick as today, but then he was out caught. So Munster Reds will be hoping he gives them a chance.
Well, you mentioned Carmichael. He's definitely developed his game. When he first came to play for Estonians. Definitely a 50 over cricketer for sure.
Topping puts it in the air. Ah, big diving effort in the deep. Just couldn't quite get there.
Another 6 to the total for the Knights again. Good feet from the batter. Getting in position when it was slightly short. Pulled away.
John McNally.
He could have got that, but that's no chance with that one. And it's straight down the ground. It's almost hitting practice for Morgan Topping. He just hits it, turns away straight away.
Yeah, this isn't the matchup for Munster Reds. I think this is a dangerous call. Tall man. Just a step hit length there from Nabi. The previous one he actually didn't really get hold of, but a little bit of indecision there. Good awareness from Suleiman Safi.
Oh, that could have been out. He just didn't look to try to go over the top again.
I think he recognised he wasn't there and just about managed to bail early enough to not hand the opportunity to mid-off.
Doesn't bail on that one. That one pings off the net again. 6 more. So 3 dots. Lovely. 3 sixes. Not so lovely. 18 off the over. And the Knights at the end of the power play, well, may have lost Sterling, may have lost Adair, but 81 for 2 from 6. And a run rate, as you can see on the screen, of 13.5. Topping 26 from 9. Carmichael 32 from 10.
Yeah, important to break this partnership. So outside the power play now, the field will spread. I'm not sure that Morgan Topping in particular will really care. He's beaten the boundary pretty easily in that power play. 50 partnership between these two in quick time. The run rate required is below 10. Their current run rate's above 13. So Munster Reds need to stem the flow of the runs, and they need to stem it fast. 52 from just 15 deliveries. Not good reading if you're a Munster Reds fan, but Ben White into the attack, the leg spinner. Can he break the partnership? So often it is the leg spinner who finds a way. Good start. Just good length, maybe a little bit too leg side. You don't want to bowl that line to Carmichael too often, but up and running Ben White.
Yeah, he'll want to get into his work early. Give too many free hits. definitely hasn't got that. Carmichael didn't sound good off the bat, but again, not the biggest hit down the ground. It seems to carry straight.
Yeah, I think that as the days have gone on, all the players have recognised if you just commit, it more often than not, it will go over the fielders and long off and long on. Too short on that occasion. A little bit of width means Carmichael can help himself to another boundary, this time forward of cover on the offside. Ben White got the length right that time, but not the line.
Yep, Carmichael able to sit back and hit that over cover fielder into the gap. 2 men out, but no chance of cutting that off. Again, 2 boundaries. That's the first 3 balls. Carmichael 42 off 13. Haven't got the figures at hand, but we've seen the quickest 100. This could be the quickest 50. That'll be 6. It's a cracking shot on the sweep. So he's hit down the ground. Over extra cover. Nice square for another 6.
It's been a tough season to be a bowler. Such good pitches, short boundaries, although that one's one of the biggest in the ground. And it's like he's trying to see how many different shots he can pull out the bag here, Cade Carmichael. Didn't get that one at all. A welcome sight for the bowler as it's clothed down to mid-off.
Brings Topping on the strike. He was probably quite happy to stand at the other end. What's those first 5 deliveries?
Gets the breakthrough.
Well bowled.
26 from 10 deliveries, but Topping, it's 1 shot too many. He was looking over the clubhouse to see where he deposited that and heard the death rattle. White went for 17 in his first over, but he's taken the wicket. 3 sixes, 2 fours in that 26 as Northern Knights lose their third, 98 for 3.
Yep. Maybe Morgan Topping wanted to stay down the far end. He's tried to go again. Just held back a little bit from Ben White. And Topping through the shot. As you say, he was trying to hit that to the right corner there. Yep, just through the shot. Takes a little bit flick off the hip, but I think it was probably going on to hit anyway.
Yeah, I think that was the googly from Ben White. Just that little bit of movement in. He was expecting it to turn away from him. Neil Rock comes out to join the in-form Cade Carmichael, who's sitting on 49 from just 15 deliveries. I think we spoke so much yesterday about Philippe Leroux being the captain of Munster Reds. Of course, it's Stephen Doheny who's captain today. That explains why he's constantly in contact with the bowlers. That adds maybe some people captaincy can put more strain on them. They struggle with their own performance. For others, it lifts their game. 150 today might give us an indication of which type of captain Stephen Doheny is. Yeah, good bowling change this. Josh Mann, he 1 for 7. I thought, apart from that final delivery of his first over that was hit for 6, it was a well-constructed over. Seemed to go back yesterday, have a think about how he'd gone about things. A little bit more difficult now. There won't be as much swing for him. Took Carmichael up.
Yeah, you had mentioned earlier on that with such a big total, you can't really... Oh yeah, we've just missed it there, sorry. We've just missed the 50. Got a single off the last over. It brought Topping on strike, so that does bring Cade Carmichael his half century off just 16 deliveries. 3 fours, 6 sixes. Really excellent stuff from Carmichael. Of course, got his Ireland debut in the ODI format. That brings Rock on strike. This is his first ball of the trophy.
Gloved gone. Well, the appeals there. He's stood still, but good piece of bowling from Josh Manley. Neil Rock looking to help it round the corner. All he can do is hit it with the glove. And Cian Hilton helps himself to a catch behind. So Josh Manley, from yesterday to today, it's been a big swing in fortune. Rock goes without scoring. Northern Knights having a wobble, 99 for 4.
Well, his first ball of the IP trophy. His last ball of today. Just the one ball. Was a bit of a guilty look back down the umpire. Given by Mark Hawthorne. See it again here now. Short ball from Manley. Rock goes on the hook. Through to the keeper. Hilton was pretty confident of that one. Straight up with the ball. And Rock goes first ball.
Mark Hawthorne just gave him a little bit of hope, didn't he? Gave Neil Rock the opportunity to walk. He didn't, so Hawthorne had to raise the finger. Ben Callitz comes out at number 6. I talk about putting things behind you. He was the one who dropped Stephen Doheny earlier. He's got to try and forget about that and focus on the task at hand, which is scoring a lot of runs. We talked about Stephen Doheny making up for the run out of Modgill. Similar situation here. Callitz is another big hitter of the cricket ball. Slip in place. Oh, and you can see exactly why. Great carry. Josh Manley's up and about.
Yeah, he's got the boots on today. Josh Manley, as I say, I spoke to him a couple of hours ago. He said he was looking forward to today to try and come back from yesterday. Although he did take 3 wickets, he basically didn't feel that he'd bowled as well as he could. Certainly today, in his second over, it's got a bit of carry about it. Through to the keeper.
He's flashed hard at that. Had he made contact, that was going like a tracer bullet. And just remember that Callitz didn't bat yesterday, so this is his first bat on this surface. It does feel like it takes people a couple of deliveries to get the pace. Carmichael was out yesterday. Yes, it was a different surface, but similar paced pitch. 29 from 13 on that occasion, so he could come out and almost pick up where he left off on that occasion. Not the same for Rock or Callitz.
Ben White goes back to long off.
Thick edge. McCarthy coming round, and unfortunately for him, he just doesn't judge the bounce. I just wonder, could he have put a slide in? Disappointing for the bowler. It was a nasty one the way it bounced, but you'd expect better. Boundary for Callitz.
Yeah, and the way that's gone down, there lots of spin on it as well. It's quick, but McCarthy really get the feet sorted there as it spins away there. Yeah, through the legs, maybe didn't get side onto it. Difficult, going quick. Boundary though.
Better length, and Callitz looking to get moving. I'm not sure why there's such a rush about the Northern Knights. 103 for 4. That boundary brought up the century for the team. 8 overs gone, 103 for 4. So required run rate below 10. They don't need to look for 3 and 4 boundaries in and over yet.
Yeah, I was just going to say that before Neil Rock got out. You'd mentioned earlier that in a chase of 215, you often can't sort of take too long, but they've earned the right for that because the run rate was so high that you could take 5-6 balls to have a look, and that, again, you've mentioned it's been pretty key. We've seen that quite a lot, that you do need a little bit of a look here, get the pace of the pitch.
Yeah, and what I did say was Stephen Doheny, the way he batted meant that Munster Reds players could take 1 or 2 balls to get their eye in. Same with Cade Carmichael. Clever batting, just goes to the offside. almost like a shovel around the corner. He'll help himself to another boundary. The way he's batting means Callets doesn't need to swing at every single ball. Just try and rotate the strike like we saw John McNally do earlier. Take 5-6 deliveries with just that, and then you can start looking for your boundaries.
Yeah, because they will come. If you stay in, boundaries almost automatically come on this ground. The old saying, you've got to be out in the middle to score runs. It's thrown up on the off stump. There haven't been too many ones, I don't think. Looking back, I don't remember too many singles in this innings.
If you look at the worm, I'm having a look at our stats here. If you look at the worm, Northern Knights are way ahead of where they need to be in this chase. And in terms of run rate as well. So there's just no panic, no need to panic. Slip in. Munster Reds want to keep taking wickets. Callets, it feels like he only knows one way. That's attack.
Yeah, in terms of runs, 103. The DLS is 97, but that's because there's 4 wickets down. Be one, not kill. That's the fielding. Yeah, in terms of run rate and where they're at, definitely ahead of the game. The Knights, it's the 4 wickets.
So I've done a little tally at the beginning of the 8th over. How many singles were hit?
Okay. There's a big moment right there. A big moment from Ben White. I'll have a check of that to see if he's bowled another googly. Carmichael trying to go to his favourite area. And he's been bowled. 55, he's gone. It's a big moment in the match, as I say. Carmichael was the Doheny of this innings, but he's gone for 55, bowled by Ben White.
Yeah, 6 sixes and 4 fours in that innings. It's been really entertaining, but White, he's got rid of the 2 set batters. He's played an important role, both playing the sweep shot and I think both times a googly. Bottom edge, just a little bit too full for that shot. Probably would have done better going off over the offside, which we've seen he's capable of doing. He's broken the partnership twice, Ben White, and when you make a total like 215, you can just keep searching for wickets even when the runs are flowing. So yes, Northern Knights ahead of the race, but 5 wickets down now and all to do for the Northern Knights. Tom Mays out in the middle. Very capable batter, but you'd have to say very much a bowling all-rounder. It was a great comeback, wasn't it? From Northern Knights. That's hit down to long off. 29 for 2, and then all the way to 98 for 3. So that was a great partnership. Good spell so far from White. He's gone the distance, gone for 24, but he's taken 2 very important wickets. 110 for 5 after 9.
Yeah, 110 for 5. It's the 5 wickets, as I say. It's causing the issue. The runs, no problem. In terms of run rate.
So 3 singles in that over.
Okay, I'm gonna go. What's this? The 9th over. I'm gonna go.
Not including that over. We've just
not
seen.
including that over.
Yeah.
Okay, well then we'll go 8.
Nope.
Higher or lower?
Lower.
Lower than 8. Okay. We've got to go 6 then. Lower than 6. Wow, I was right then. That was a good call.
5 singles.
5 singles.
5 singles in the first 8 overs, and you don't need to be hitting singles when you're hitting that many boundaries. But there are a good few dots in there, and we didn't see many dots from Doheny. So even when he wasn't scoring boundaries, he would hit a single.
Only unsurprisingly going to get another go with the new batters in.
Loves to take a tumble. He's takes so many tumbles, Josh Manley, that he's actually got a technique for how to get back into
up again.
standing.
Yeah. As you mentioned, not often you get 2 overs, but when there's a new batter in, can do. Callets has faced a few balls from Manley, but only the first for Mays. Got the chance to line him up, and he's got a real spring in his step here. Josh Manley. Let's do the Reds. Take the 1.
Here's the stat for you. Stephen Doheny faced 56 deliveries, made 150. How many dots?
Well, I'm trying to think.
We've entered the quiz era.
I'm trying to sort of work out mathematically here. He hit, what, 16 sixes? That's
Don't overthink it. Just take a little guess. Come on.
Dot balls, 7.
Nearly. It was 8. Not
I
many.
missed that one. That's right.
You missed it. You forgot that one in the last over. That dot in the last over. No. Yeah. So just 8 dot balls in his innings. And when you're opening the batting, that's quite something because you tend to face some dots in the first 6. That's clipped off the hip. And Liam McCarthy does well. You think he might get called back into the attack now, Carmichael, who seemed to have the measure of him, now back in the tent, so he might get another opportunity. 2 for 15 from Manley. He's been really good. But remember, Northern Knights, they have still more than half of their innings left to go, and they just need just above 100. So can they go at 10s for 10 overs? It's a long time to do it with just 5 wickets in hand. That'll help it on its way. Ben Callets, it's his first 6 of the innings, doubles his score, and Manley, frustrated with himself, just releases the pressure ever so slightly.
Yeah. Just again, watch Carmichael play this type of shot from the other end. Just helping it round the corner. Exasperated from Manley there. Just got to be careful here. The Reds, that they don't fall into the same sort of trap they shouldn't do, because they've got a target on the board. But it's kind of what happened, what you mentioned about the Knights when they got that 4th and wicket. They sort of took the foot off the pedal in terms of looking for wickets. But Josh Manley doesn't. He's looking for wickets there. That one's taken off.
I think it's a different mindset though, isn't it? Like the way he bounced back from yesterday, he, rather than worrying about bowling today and not wanting and being fearful of getting taken down again, he's keen to get out in the field and right the wrongs of yesterday. It's a really good mindset for a bowler to have.
Yeah, that's kind of what he had indicated to me there when I bumped into him. He couldn't wait to get back on to do exactly that.
Callets helps himself to 6 more. And he is such a dangerous batsman. 2 6s in the over, 15 from it. Manley 2 for 27 from his 3 so far. Halfway through the innings, Northern Knights on track.
Yeah, he's a good man to have in this situation, I think, Callets, because I'm watching him get 98. I think it may have been here last year in an IP20 game when the rest of his teammates hardly scored a run and he scored 98. He managed the game.
I think that was up in Stormont, wasn't it?
Was it Stormont? No, I'm pretty sure
I definitely saw him do something similar in Stormont last year, and I wasn't down in Cork.
If that's the case, then
he's
that
done it
indicates
twice.
if he's done it twice, then
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
So it indicates that that's the kind of form. I watched him win the Senior Cup for his club as well, where he managed it really well at the end. So he's got a good cricket brain, is what I'm trying to get at. He's not just a hitter. So, and he's a good man working with the inverted commas tail, as it were. Not saying that Tom Mays has started the tail, but you know, he's a good man to work around. So let's see if he's moved on to 18 with those 2 6s. As you say, well ahead of the rate, 125 for 5, 91 required off the last 10. And it's those 5 wickets. John McNally back now from the Reds.
In the air, I think he's
going to be
pitched
safe
this
here.
perfectly.
Right in the middle of 4.
Literally 4 people converging. So frustrating for John McNally, but he just seems to have a knack of finding ways to discomfort batters.
Yeah, lovely knack to have.
Yeah, very handy little knack.
Just making it difficult. Look to be doing anything particularly different from any other bowler, but
no, but he is the one bowler in the Munster Reds lineup who bowls a lot of slower deliveries. So I think we'll see that, especially against Callets. He's got the fielders out on the leg side, so don't be surprised to see a couple of change-ups here. And Cian Hilton's called for the helmet against Ben Callets. I don't know if this is necessary, because Callets is a man who can hit big from a standing position. So you won't be worried that he can't come down the pitch at McNally.
Yeah, we haven't seen him really do that so far.
Calls of 2. Manley in the deep. Little fumble. Just enough pressure put on. Did well to stop it, truth be told. Had the look of maybe scooting through the feet about it, didn't it? It came at such pace.
Send back. PJ Moore goes back at fine leg. He'll be in the action. Yeah, just an interesting one. If you remember yesterday, we sort of were at a long distance away. Who was that over? And I said it was Ben Callets. I thought it was John McNally, and they do have quite a lot of similarities about them.
Yeah, now they're
a few differences, but some similarities indeed.
They're closer together. I reckon Callets has him on height, does he?
He does a little, yeah. Both left-handers, of course, and they do bat in a similar sort of way. And also, let's say it, pretty talented, both of them.
Batting the same position, talented from Mays as well. Good power, Modgood as well. I reckon between the two of them, Callets is more the hitter and McNally more a stroke maker.
And obviously, he's got the all-rounder ability. Bowling here. Callets is a wicket keeper by trade. Don't do so much of it now. Can't keep though.
I've kept mid-off up, so done well not to give him the space to lift it over mid-off. Big ball this. I just want 1 or 2 quiet overs just to push that run rate up, especially at this point in the game. Once you get past the halfway mark in the innings, quiet over can make the required run rate jump. Good hard length. So single to close it out. Excellent stuff from McNally. 7 from it. 11 gone. The Northern Knights 131 for 5.
Yep. Little partnership these two need to put on now. Mays and Callets. They're going so quickly at the start. It's almost taken out of the equation for the moment. As you say, though, a couple of dot balls in each over will ramp that up. See a good crowd in here today. Watching this second game, day 2. Munster Lightning bouncing back earlier on today to win their game, and the Munster Reds so far have bounced back with that innings, but they've still got work to do here. Started well.
2 very different games. A low scoring affair this morning, and Leinster Lightning made heavy work of the chase, and then Munster Reds scoring big and Northern Knights making a good fist of it. Swapnil Mudgill getting his first bowl of this afternoon's match. He'll tend to just bowl quickly through the air outside off, but swatted down the ground by the tall Tom Mays. So the game plan of bowling it flat and outside off won't work against a very, very tall guy. Maybe he just needs to be a touch fuller.
Yeah, still amazed how quickly the ball runs down to that boundary. It bounced twice almost by the time it passed the bowler. Raced away. Doesn't get that one.
No, I said it should be a bit fuller. Actually, meant a bit shorter. It's been quite a long day, Ali.
It has.
Seen a lot happen. Too short, but could this be a chance in the deep? No. Has the legs. Kept Ben White interested for a very long time down there, but the long levers, we've talked about it ad nauseum. Commit to the shot, and more often than not, it'll go over the rope.
Yeah, I don't like that from Ben White. He set us up really bad because it looked as if he was setting himself for the catch. Here you go, watch him right there. You think he's setting for the catch, and then whoop, up he goes, well over him in the end.
Not the greatest timed jump. Philippe Leroux in extra cover.
Yep, so 11 off the first 4 balls. Doheny comes in from what would be long on now for the left-hander. Have a chat with what the plans are for Callets.
They've just got to keep trying to take wickets. They won't win if these two are there at the end. And they do. Modgill full in at the left-handed batter, inside edge, and Ben Callets can't quite believe it. And we keep on saying it's a big moment in the game, but this lineup is really good for the Northern Knights. So that's the last recognised batsman out. Callets didn't start off too well, but he was starting to get into his innings. Just tried to overhit that one. He goes for 21.
Yeah, and talk Callets up about how good he was in these sort of situations, run chases. Modgill, maybe with a little bit of hindsight, of course, it's easy to say they keep going here. There's already 11 off the over. Callets is gone. It's just writing down. That's why I wasn't really watching that box. I was just making a few notes about what was to come for the Knights. Got one of them out there. Carson McCulloch has come out to bat. He was promoted to 3 yesterday. Didn't work out. He can certainly bat. Also got Keane Robertson, but interestingly, Sean Davey is still to come. Bats in the top order for his club.
Just use the pace. They'll take the single, but it's a good close to the over from Modgill. Went for a 4 and a 6, but then importantly took the wicket. 12 overs gone. Northern Knights 144 for 6.
Yep. 11 came from the first 4 balls, as we keep talking about. Teams are happy to give away runs as long as they're picking up wickets, and they have done. Off that 5th delivery. They're on the hunt again now as they're bringing back Ben White. He already has 2 very important wickets to his name, especially Carmichael.
Short and just helped round the corner. There's no one in 45. It's a long chase, but he won't manage to cut it off. Not a good delivery for the field he had set, Ben White. He'll be disappointed to hand a boundary to get McCullough up and running. It's his first boundary.
Yeah, not a good field setting either, to be honest, because that's Carson McCullough's area early in his innings. He'll play sweeps early on, straight away. Plugged it. Philippe Leroux's gone to 45.
Good comeback. Very good comeback.
Yeah, so Cian Robertson, Matthew Humphreys and Sean Davey left to come for the Knights.
Slider and bottom edge onto the stumps. Ben White knew exactly what he wanted to bowl. Too quick for McCullough. Skidding through, takes the bottom edge. We've seen a good few of the Northern Knights batters help the ball onto their stumps in this innings. McCullough joins the crew. And they just keep taking wickets. Munster Reds, McCullough the latest. He goes for 5 from 4. And Northern Knights, well, they're in a bit of trouble now. 148 for 7.
Yeah, like the field change, as I say, they realised from the first ball, take out the sweep option and playing in front of the wicket. Again, it's another drag on.
I called it a slider. I think it was the top spinner, in fact, but I'll forgive myself because we're pretty much watching from the naked eye at long off. Much easier to see on slow motion, but it does show you that it must be difficult for the batters to pick Ben White. I always talk about him not being the biggest leg spinner of the ball, but very good on the change-ups. Just the one boundary in that innings of 5 from McCullough. And while there's plenty of time left, it's a pressure situation for Sean Davey, who comes out at number 9 for the Northern Knights. Slip in. Ben White knew exactly where that ball was going. Very good off his own bowling, an excellent fielder. Good pick up and throws. Stephen Doheny gets his man, brilliant. That's a huge moment again. Tom May's run out. He seems perplexed, but a single that they maybe didn't need to take. Wants to get on strike, Mays, and perishes. 17 from 10 for him as he tries to get back on strike. Couple of wickets and a couple of deliveries, and it just feels like this is slipping away from the Northern Knights.
Yep. Tom Mays and Davey together there. Doheny coming round. Release.
Yeah.
He's well short.
Bat wasn't down. I reckon if he'd put if his bat was down, maybe.
He got the dive in, maybe. From about 6'10".
I reckon we'll take another look at it, because have a look where, if you can, because it didn't hit direct. His bat's actually in the air when the bails are taken.
Yeah, I think he's also veering off to the right a little bit as well. See it here.
Yeah, it's definitely, well, he's had to avoid his partner. But yeah, as the bails are taken, his bat's in the air. So good umpiring from Mark Hawthorne at square leg. Never easy as an umpire when it doesn't hit direct, but I reckon he's called that one right. 148 for 8. Matthew Humphreys, short arm jab. Welcome to the crease. Short and helped on its way for 4. That's the 150 up for the Northern Knights, and Ben White frustrated that he dropped that shorter. Maybe he feels the fielder could have done better in the deep, but it was a clean contact.
Yeah, well, if anybody was at Saturday at Stormont last year in a slightly different format in a test match, and we watched Matthew Humphreys hitting Zimbabwe all around the park on Saturday evening. Can't hit a ball. Different format here, of course. And 7 overs to go and just 2 wickets in hand. But there's the call now. It's gone out to Liam McCarthy.
Swapping on Modgill will be thinking what he did wrong. He got the wicket. Skip, give me another over. I reckon this is a good call. He's in the team to bowl, Liam McCarthy, and yes, he's gone round the houses, but hopefully he can, from a Munster Reds point of view, close things out here. Yeah, good start.
Oh, could be another run out. Terrific piece of work from Doheny again. He was going for the double up.
If that had hit the stumps,
I think we can give away the washing machine, I think, as they say.
Yeah, what a pickup. One-handed, feet in position. So athletic. I still don't think it's necessary for them to take those singles. 63 from 41. There are going to be boundaries in there. So don't be hitting and running to the man who scored 150 and already got a run out. Humphreys. Well, it doesn't manage to cut that off, Stephen Doheny. Good power to get it past mid-off. Had to really bring the bottom hand in to force it straight. The 2 boundaries and 2 balls for him. Playing a good hand. This game's not gone, he says.
Yep, as we've seen with the ball. Obviously a good competitor. He'll not be giving it up. Still 59 needed, just 2 wickets in hand.
At this point, I know they want to take wickets, but I don't think slip is necessary. If it was me, I'd take him out, and if you have to have mid-off and mid-on up, maybe bring Doheny straighter and add another extra cover and have those 3 on the ring. Allow McCarthy to bowl full and straight and say, if you want a boundary, you've got to go aerial. Watch this go to slip now.
Dear.
Well, see, I don't think
it's been the way it's been going. It's been the way it's been going.
If he makes contact with that, I don't care how fine the edge is. That's not going to slip.
It's difficult, yeah.
It's not going to slip.
Well, that's the point, because slip's mainly in there for, you know, prodding forward, a little outside edge going and carrying, similar to sort of earlier on. When you're going that hard,
a flat bat shot, it's not going to slip.
It's going to be difficult. If it goes, it's going to go quick. It's going to be difficult.
I reckon it'll be a top edge 6 if it does go.
Right, the boundary. We'll cut that off. Josh Manley. Just 1.
Interesting to see how Stephen Doheny uses his bowlers now. Still 6 overs left. So it's a case of who do you think your best bowlers are? Who are you going to bowl out early to try and close out the game? Josh Manley for me is the man. Ben White maybe as well. He's the most likely to take a wicket. And looks to try and lift it over the keeper. Humphreys always really difficult to do if you're on the move. So good finish from McCarthy. Good clear plans. Just 1 from the final half of that over. And just saves his figures ever so slightly. Not for 46 from 3. So still expensive, but the best over from him by a long way. 14 gone. Northern Knights 159 for 8.
Helmet comes on again for the keeper, meaning that it is going to be spin, so it is going to be Ben White. He's got 1 left, 3 for 32 rather. Big wickets for him so far. He got dangerous topping, followed up by even more dangerous today, Carmichael. He was on 55 from 18 at the time.
Dangerous topping sounds like someone's got something they shouldn't on their ice cream, doesn't it? Ben White will close out his forever spell. And just 2 full, floated up and helped, dispatched in fact, over long on.
Yep, just floated up there a little bit. Go back to the flatter here now.
Chance in the deep, McCarthy underneath it. Taken. Ben White takes his 4th. Look to repeat the dose. Did Davy. I reckon that was the leg spinner, just from how the ball came off the bat. Sliced, and McCarthy moved early, had to take a step back. Great technique, takes an important catch. They are all important. Their fielding's been so much better today, the Munster Reds. Davy at 6 and out. He goes for 8. And Northern Knights almost at the ends, 165 for 9.
Yep, as you say, tried to go again. Wasn't really looking anywhere towards the area the ball actually ended up. Was looking leg side. skewed off the edge. Carried a long way again, but just a good technique from McCarthy. He got there to the ball early and then was able to readjust back a step. Took it comfortably in front of his eyes.
Yeah, great example for kids as to why you don't try and meet the ball as it's landing. Get there early so that if you haven't quite got it right, if the wind's helping it high up or something like that, you have time to then take an extra step back or forward. So many times you see kids, it's almost like they're playing football. You don't want to arrive as the ball's arriving. You want to be there beforehand. But Ben White has 4 deliveries remaining to see. Can he get 5 for Robertson, the new man out at number 11. Slip in. Angled in, straightens up. Nice delivery. If you can't take the wicket, Ben White, you want to bowl all your deliveries at Robertson because Humphreys seems in a bit of a mood. He won't manage to do that. Just the single though, 51 or 50 from 32 required, and you'd imagine Humphreys would have to score the bulk of those.
Calls 2 straight away, should be. It goes to the left of the boundary rider. Get back for 2.
Yeah, not a bad outcome though. Humphreys will be thinking boundaries.
I have to tell you, is he? Kane Robinson's not the worst number 11 I've ever seen.
No, well, I think that's the theme across all the Interpro teams,
I think it is, yeah.
Chance.
This could be it.
Gone. Swapnam Mogul takes a simple chance. It's 5 for Ben White. He closes out his 4 overs. 5 for 41. And a famous victory for Munster Reds, who looked down and out early in their innings. But an absolutely incredible display of batting. Power hitting from Stephen Doheny set them up in the first innings, and the bowlers finished the job in the second. Smiles all round for Munster Reds, who had a chastening loss yesterday. They've come back strong against the Northern Knights. So it's 1 win for each of the teams after the second day of the IP20 festival down here at the Mardyke, and this is the final wicket.
Yeah, you've got your wish, Izzy. 4 teams, 4 wins now, 1 each. Just watch Swapnam Mogul here if we catch it. Look, he just looks across. You just catch the end of it there. That's Glenn Brokenshire, who's the photographer for the Munster Reds team. You just give him a little point to get his picture on the social media later on as he took that winning catch. But look, a really good performance for the Munster Reds. Okay, their batting was dominated by their captain, 150. They come out. Ben White has come into the team today from international duty at the weekend, and he has a stellar performance with the ball.
Well, he came on when they desperately needed a wicket, Ben White. It was just outside the power play. Northern Knights were at a canter, 81 for 2, but then enter Ben White. He went for 17 in his first over, but took the first wicket and just continued to take wickets throughout his spell. Whenever they needed to break a partnership, he was the man they turned to. All the bowlers performing. Josh Manley was really impressive for me. John McNally always finds a way to take wickets. The run out as well from Doheny. Every time they needed to stand up, Munster Reds, they did so in the field, because it's an imposing Northern Knights batting lineup, but didn't fire today.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. That yes, it was maybe a one-man show with the bat. There we see it. 150 for Stephen Doheny. We'll mention John McNally, really important innings from him. He came in, gave himself a little bit of time, and then was able to help Doheny along. But Doheny took over towards the end. Record score in the IP20 trophy, 150 from 56 balls, 16 sixes. There's that partnership in the middle, 91 from Doheny, 49 from Doheny, 40 from McNally, and he's all the way down there. He ran his partner out, second ball, but all the way down.
Yeah, the Knights, they started off so well. It was all looking good for them, but then they were all put to the sword by Doheny. 15 sixes for him, 2 wickets for Kate Carmichael, 2 for 16 from his 2 overs. A wicket apiece for Humphreys, Mays, Robertson and Davy, but they were all punished. Humphreys alone, aside from Carmichael, managing to have an economy of less than 10. And the batting from the Northern Knights, well, lots of contributions. Well, Carmichael was there. It looked likely that they'd cross the line. Needed to get him out. White was the man who did it. And then he got rid of Topping as well. Dangerous number 4 for the Northern Knights. 26 from 10 for him. Callets looked good before Modgill came on and managed to get him out. And then the run out of Mays. That was probably the death knell, because then McCullough, Davy, Humphreys and Robertson not able to get quite enough runs to get over the line. Carmichael and Topping was the best partnership while they were out there. It looked like the Northern Knights would do it, but it was such a difficult job to chase 215 down. They had to go at such a rate for such a long time, they didn't manage to do it.
Yeah, and a much better performance from the bowlers and indeed the fielders from the Reds. McCarthy went for a few, but Manley was much better today. 3 overs, 2 for 27. Figures maybe not be as much in the wickets column, but he definitely bowled better today. But McNally was good too, 1 for 18, but the standout there, Ben White, not just the 5 wickets he took, it was the wickets that he took in terms of the names. Got Carmichael, got Topping, and then wrapped up the tail. 5 for 41 from the returning Ben White. Mulgill chipped in with 1 for 12. So there's your summary. Dominated, and your story of the match is that 150 not out from Stephen Doheny. Just the 56 balls, as we've mentioned, a record score in this IP trophy. 215 for 7 for the Reds in total, 150 for Doheny out of that. The Knights were in with a shout when Carmichael was going at 55 off 19, but Ben White, as I say, took his wicket, mopped up the tail, 5 for 41, and the Knights were bowled out for 168. And the Munster Reds have picked up their first points of this IP20. Day 2 completed, all teams on 1 win, and we move into Day 3 of this festival at the Mardyke with all to play for. Please join us tomorrow, 10:45. We'll be here for the Knights against the Warriors. Thanks to everybody for joining us today, and Isabel Joyce for your company with me today. We'll be back here tomorrow. Please join us just before 10:45.